Hello there and welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 811. That is 811 of the Agostino Zinga Show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere in the depths of London. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are doing fine. How am I? Not good. Not gonna lie. Not good. Not good. United lost 3-0 at home against Liverpool. And I just got to rant a little bit. I got to let you know how I feel. I got to express some of my feelings. I know sometimes on Tazs, some of you don't want to hear some of my football talk. Some of you might think I'm a little bit clueless. Some of you just don't like sports in general. I understand it. But please allow me 20 minutes or so to just rant, because I'm so annoyed and so pissed off. Even now, so many hours after the fact, I'm still annoyed at the way we performed. I'm not really that pissed off about the result. I'm not going to lie. Liverpool are, despite losing Klopp, they're still a better team, right? They're still well drilled. Like, it doesn't, you'd have to be a really bad manager to take over from Klopp and have Liverpool looking like Sheffield United or something. It's not going to happen. But the manner of the defeat is what I'm really annoyed about. The manner. There's ways to lose games. There's ways to lose games. And I think, personally for me, I think over the years, our standards have dropped so much so where I think this is going to be a bit of a stretch to say, but I think at a club like Real Madrid, if you lost 3-0, 7-0, all these crazy, defeats against your bitter local rivals, no matter what you did previously, that should put you up for the sack. Because those are the type of games where if you can't get the players up for this, if you can't get them well drilled enough, even just to kind of batten down the hatches and not concede more than 2 goals, you deserve to go. That's the level of team that we're at. That's a level of performance we need from our players. And if they can't match that and they can't do that, of course we can't get rid of all the players, as much as I would like to. I'm sure a lot of United fans out there would like to see a lot of these players go. We can't get rid of all of them. You have to then decide, let's get rid of the manager because he's the one person that we can change relatively easily. But we didn't. So let's not go over the manager 2 things so far. Let's just go over the game, and I'm going to give you my impression of the game. Number 1, the game. Before the game even starts off, for me, before the game even starts off, the lineup already annoyed me. The lineup annoyed me because of the admission of Onana. No, the admission of Amad Diallo. Sorry, not Onana. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying United would have won that game if Amad Diallo was playing on the right-hand side or the left-hand side instead of Garnacho or Rashford. Don't get me perturbed. I'm not that dumb. I'm not that stupid. I'm not that naive. I'm not that short-sighted. But what the selection or the lack of selection of Amad Diallo tells me is that the manager still doesn't know who his best players are. Still doesn't know who his best players are. Because in my opinion, even if the manager said, you know what, I want more pace. I want more direct pace behind the defenders. I want more players who can maybe, I don't know what you can say about Garnacho is different to Amad. Maybe I want more players that can run in behind their defender. I want more players that are going to face up to their defender. I want more players that can run off the ball. Cool. But I'm sort of the thinking United are playing so terribly at the moment. We're such in a weird state of flux that you probably just need to have all your best players playing. It doesn't matter if sometimes against certain opposition, you need someone to be a bit taller for set pieces. No. At this stage of our development, at this stage of our transition, we just need our best players on the pitch. Like Bruno Fernandes. I'm not the biggest fan of Bruno Fernandes, but he's one of our best players. You put him on the pitch. You figure out a way to make him work. Cool. So when I didn't see Amad Diallo on the lineup, I already got worried because I was like, oh, this manager doesn't know what he's doing. We're already 3 games into the season. It's pretty obvious that Amad, from what we have available, is quite likely our best winger, in my opinion. In terms of, ball retention, in terms of short passing, in terms of shots, in terms of dribbling, in terms of just everything, he's probably our all-around best winger in our team. Even though I think long-term, you'll probably end up being a little bit more on the inside. You might end up developing into a number 10 or even playing off the striker. But as it stands right now, Amad Diallo is our best winger. You don't play him. For me, that's a big concern. All right, cool. Then you play Xerxes up front on his own, basically. And I'm also concerned because from what I've seen so far, Man United don't have a good way of integrating our strikers. Højlund struggled at first when he joined United. In the second half of the season, he kind of improved. But there was a lack of kind of cohesion and kind of flow and balls coming into Højlund. So immediately when I saw Xerxes up front, I was a little bit worried also. Just because in general, our strikers tend to suffer. because we don't really, I'm not too sure why this is the case. If it's the manager telling the players to play a certain way, if it's our players' reluctancy to pass on new players. But whenever a new striker joins United, especially in recent years, they've always struggled. Playing up front for United and playing in goal for United might be two of the hardest positions and most scrutinized positions in world football. I swear to God. And Xerxes, I feel completely sorry for him. He really tried his heart out, but he looked dog shit. Continuing on with the game. When the game started, it was fairly obvious to me one side in Liverpool was setting traps, pressing the opposition, and also keeping the ball better. The other side, which is United, were looking for the long counter every single time. And in my opinion, that long counter was never on. Because neither Rashford or Garnacho has the ability to keep the ball well enough to get past 2 or 3 defenders and then get a shot on goal. They're all kind of too, 50-50 when it comes to their ability to successfully dribble, in my opinion. I think if you have Liverpool playing as they did before against Klopp, they would push a bit more higher and there'd be more space for Rashford and Garnacho to run onto. This time round with Arne Slot, this Liverpool, they don't push that far up. They don't leave so many gaps. Yes, there are some gaps, but not enough for Rashford to run onto. And Rashford and Garnacho don't have the best touch into their feet. It's always a little bit, a bit of a fumble. They're having to catch up to the ball. So those fumbles give people time to close the space, and there you go. So I was preferring how Liverpool was playing. I actually was looking at the game, and I was surprised by how good Gravenberch looked for Liverpool. I, for some reason, mistakenly thought Gravenberch was more of a destroyer type of midfielder, more combative. But in this particular game, it seems that Szoboszlai and McAllister were really doing a good job of plugging that midfield gap and letting Gravenberch just raid forward. He had 2 or 3 particular runs in the first half that really filled me with dread because he got the ball in the half term, spun and was past half of our midfield, if not half of our team, all the way onto goal. That already gave me issue because in my opinion, I prefer to see football played in a way where there's a bit more control. I think most of us do. I think I'm not sure about you if you're a United fan. I'm sick and tired. I'm not going to lie. I am sick and tired of heavy metal football. I'm sick and tired of heavy metal football. I'm sick and tired of having that swift counter-attacking thing, always running, everybody busting a gut, people just bleep test football. I've had enough of it. I want to see us control games. I want to see us go back to actually killing games even. Who would have known that, right? Getting a couple goals ahead and then deciding to kill a game. We don't even do that anymore. So when I was seeing us play, I was very worried because even though we did have a couple of quote-unquote attacks and maybe chances, it did look like Liverpool were in control. The other worrying part for me in the first half was that Liverpool didn't really get out of second gear. In my personal opinion. They beat us resoundingly. As you can see from the screen, they beat us 3-0 resoundingly. Wasn't even close. And the scary thing is, I don't think they got out of second gear. I think Liverpool can be much better than that, but they still beat us 3-0. That is where, as a United fan, you have to be worried. Because we had all our players fit, with the exception of Højlund and Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw doesn't really exist because he's consistently injured and his contract should get fucking terminated if it was up to me. But he's white and English, so it's not going to happen. So fuck him. But you got Højlund as the only player out, really. Ugarte, you can't really include him because he's not really in our team yet at the moment. We were missing, technically, or maybe Malacia, maybe technically 4 players, but only probably 2 of them really are important to our first team. And Liverpool beat us resoundingly. And look at the bench that they had when they made the substitutions. Look at how strong their bench was compared to ours as well when they made the substitutions. A well-balanced team, well-drilled, knows what to do with a new manager, obviously looking to prove things. Then, of course, when they scored the first goal, the Trent Alexander goal, that was very worrying already. It kind of felt like it was an omen that they were going to score. I didn't feel like, in previous times when a team scores a goal and it gets ruled off for offside, and then it kind of gives the or the team that got scored against confidence. Oh yeah, cool, man, we got away with that one. Cool, let's go and get them back. I don't think that happened. If anything, it kind of revived and re-energized Liverpool. It kind of got them going. It kind of got them to be a bit more precise, and they took every single one of their chances. Luis Diaz absolutely tore us apart. I can't even imagine how lethal Liverpool will be if they find out a way to get Chiesa fit. because he has, you know, he has a lot of consistent niggly injuries. I'm a big fan of his. Watched him a lot in Juve. Like, he's definitely a talent. I like that type of winger anyway. Very kind of direct. He kind of reminds me of Joaquim from back in the day and Robert Batiste. If you know, you know. He's got that very direct, like, going at you fucking style. If Liverpool managed to get Chiesa up and running and they managed to get him fit, they managed to give him a couple of inhalers or something, yo, Liverpool's attack is going to be scary with having Luis Diaz and fucking Chiesa on the wings, and then whoever they want playing through the middle, whether it's Salah, whether it's fucking Darwin Núñez, if he ends up kind of, you know, pulling off the trees this season, they're going to be quite scary. But for me, the most important and impressive thing about Liverpool was their midfield compactness. All across, actually forget midfield, their team compactness. Very rarely did I see, what's his name? Andy Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold out of position. Very rarely did we see them stretched all over the pitch. Very rarely did we see Van Dijk having to lunge, having to overextend. Even Konate, who's got a mistake in him, he didn't really make any. The spaces were so compact beyond all of these players. McAllister, Gravenberch, Robertson, Van Dijk, Conte, Trent Alexander-Arnold, just compact. And then when it went up front to the players that actually had the skills and the whatever, they didn't destroy us with Szoboszlai, Jota, everybody else. You know what I mean? They just kind of went a bit, they kind of ran us ragged in that regard. But we couldn't get out. We couldn't get out of a half. We couldn't string any passes together. And of course, the most concerning part of it was the first half was obviously Casemiro's performance. Casemiro's performance, right, was really bad. Really bad. Maybe one of the worst midfielder performances I've seen outside of like performances you see from like Scott McTominay and Fred back in the day. But the scary thing about the Casemiro performance, none of us were surprised. We've seen him perform like that against, I think it was Brentford last year. He had one of the worst midfield performances ever. Ever. Gave the ball away loads of times. I think he even gave the ball away conceding a goal. And even back then, a lot of us United fans are saying, why aren't we not transitioning from this guy? Why are we not getting in a player to replace him? Why are we not trying to phase him out of the team? Because unfortunately, we tried to buy this Real Madrid Galactico. We thought really highly of him. And then, you know, it didn't work out. It is what it is. But we got one good year out of him. But I thought even if we gave him a long contract, we would have had in place a player that he could maybe mentor or play alongside. And then little by little, we could phase him out of the team and then let him go. But as you know, with United don't let go of players when they have to get let go. We let go of players far beyond their time where they should get let go. Like Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay, bless him, he should have been out of the club 2 years ago. He was never good enough to play for United. He's probably lucky to play for Napoli. Fred, the same thing. Martial, the same thing. Maguire probably still at the club, the same thing. Shaw, the same thing. De Gea, look how long De Gea stayed at the club. So we have this tendency to hold on to players that we probably should phase out a long time anyway. So as much as I want to sit here and blame Casemiro for how badly he played, I can't really. Because he shouldn't be at the club. He shouldn't be at the club. He should have got replaced in the summer. He should have got replaced last season even. He should have been replaced by now. And if you're Erik ten Hag and your way of playing football relies, because some people will say that Erik ten Hag is struggling now because of his lack of being able to get a Frankie de Jong type player. Because in his first season when he joined United, the major thing we heard about him was that he wanted Frankie de Jong. If I get Frankie de Jong, all my prayers will be answered. We get it. He's a great player. I think he's currently out injured. Great player is amazing. I understand. But that type of profile of a player, I'm not too sure about you guys, but they're not that common. That's why he's special. But he's also injured. And he's also didn't want to come to United. So you have to figure out another option. But if that position is really important to how you play, if that position is vital, you have to find a better replacement for Casemiro. You have to. If your football relies on having really fit and mobile fullbacks, really combative and ball-playing centre-backs, really tackle aggressive, on the front foot, good ball carrier DMs, you have to get those players. There's no excuses. If you don't get them, and then you have to rely on Casemiro, that's on you. Because we already know Casemiro is prone to making loads of unforced errors that lead to goals. We know that about him. That's not his fault. I don't think so. I can't blame him for playing shit because that's what we know him to do. The game that he played in the first game of the season against Fulham, that was the exception to the rule. We're going to get more games like he played against Liverpool than what he played against Fulham. That's why he got dropped for the FA Cup game, by the way. If you Man United fans don't remember, that's why he got dropped for the FA Cup game. He didn't get dropped for the FA Cup game. He didn't get dropped for the FA Cup game because, you know, the manager doesn't like him, because he couldn't get trusted. And it proved to be right, because we won the game anyway. So I can't really blame Casemiro too much. And the other thing about it as well, even if I do want to blame Casemiro, I watched the game with my eyes. And I'm sorry, but Casemiro should never be receiving the ball where he receives the ball. He clearly makes loads of mistakes when he receives the ball really, you know, deep, basically. He's just not mobile enough. He hasn't got the spatial awareness. He hasn't got the, you know, the sense of touch or whatever. He's just not good in that position. But what I have seen him do good at is being further forward, actually. Winning the ball back further forward, if that's possible. If there's like two types of DMs. If there's a DM that flanks or that kind of covers the centre-backs, and there's a DM that tries to win the ball further up, I think Casemiro is one of those DMs that wins the ball further up. But when it's deep, he's poor, especially if defenders are passing him the ball. I've seen that whenever he has his back to the opposing goal, he really struggles to figure out where he is. Cool. I think as well the players around him need to take responsibility. There was a couple of passes, especially from Dalot, that he was given to Casemiro, where he was surrounded by 3 Liverpool players. And it was pretty obvious to me, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, it was pretty obvious to me the Liverpool players were actually purposely targeting Casemiro. He seemed to be the trigger. Casemiro and Kobe Mino seemed to be the triggers. Whenever they got the ball, Liverpool's defenders would pounce on them. Even I think Lissandro Martinez to a certain extent, they would go and hassle and harry them. Even maybe Matthias de Ligt, he was like kind of struggling on the ball a couple of times. But Casemiro was the main one. If that's mean I'm your teammate, I'm going to notice that and stop giving you the ball where you've got a million fucking ops around you. Give him the ball where he's a bit more free. So I think they were purposely. I think they were kind of putting the guy in trouble by giving the ball where he gave the ball. Obviously, when he gave the ball away, inexcusable. But I still think, especially for the second goal that Luis Diaz scored, yes, Casemiro's ball was intercepted and then it went, but there was still a lot of passage of play before the ball went into the center of the box and Luis Diaz finished it the way he did. There was still a lot of time for us to recover the ball. And I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I played football, even Sunday League, even forget me playing football Sunday League, but look at a team like Man City, even some of the smaller teams, whenever a player in the team makes an unforced error that could potentially lead to a goal, the other players hassle. They all run around. They all like trying to make sure that they save the player because that's their boy, that's their teammate. They don't want to concede a goal like that. If they want to concede a goal, they want to concede a goal because the other team is playing really flipping well, right? They want to fucking go. They want to fucking go. They want to fucking go. But it doesn't happen to United. It's almost like we let it happen. There's no real there's no real, effort to get back. Dalot's too far forward. Where's Lissandro Martinez? Where's Matthias de Ligt? All over the place. It's almost like when he gave away the ball, oh, we're going to concede now. No one really cares too much. And obviously we go and concede and the game's over. But I was also happy, and this is a weird thing to say, I was also happy that in the second half, although there was no other option but to take Casemiro off, because at that point he was trying to jeopardize the team, right? And maybe he wasn't able to kind of turn it around. Maybe the manager saw he doesn't have, because if it was me and I was being a little bit critical of Erik ten Hag, I would say maybe the cop-out and the easy thing is to take Casemiro off. Maybe leaving him on for maybe 10 minutes to see if he can kind of turn himself back on again and kind of stamp his authority, right? And kind of wake up a bit might be a bit beneficial, because to throw Toby Collier on, the young kid who also struggled, was a little bit unfair to kind of cover for Casemiro's mistakes. But I understand at that point, it was getting a little bit untenable. He had to come off. Cool, no problem. I was happy. In the second half, it continued as per normal. I was happy in the second half. Nothing really changed. If anything, the mistake that led to the third goal, guess who did it? Kobe Mino. So the same player so Casemiro was making loads of mistakes in that position. Unforced errors, which lead to goals. 2 he did. He gets subbed at half time. Then Mino puts into the position. Toby Collier goes forward. Melo gives the ball away. Bang. Third goal, the game's over. So to me, that's proof that Erik ten Hag has set this team up in a way that the players keep on making the same mistakes. His tactics, his formations, the lack of style of play, whatever's going on, is atrocious. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that the way I like to see football played is the only way I like to see football played. I want to see control. I want to see dominance. I want to see quote-unquote tiki-taka football. I want to see us suck the life out of teams through just keeping the ball. That's what I prefer to see. And then hitting the teams on a break and being fucking lethal and aggressive. Like, a good mix for me would be a mix between, like, I don't know, Borussia Dortmund under Tuchel and a Pomp, a little bit of Real Madrid now, and a little bit of Man City. That would be my perfect blend of style of play. But I'm also appreciative if Erik ten Hag wants to play this gung-ho, over-the-top football, cool. But then get the players who can do that for you. Have tactics and formation that can execute that style of play the best. And so far, after 3 years at the club, we are nowhere closer to seeing exactly what he wants. We're nowhere closer to seeing it, especially not for a sustained period. Especially not if players get injured. It seems like as soon as first teammate gets injured, our fucking standards drop considerably. As soon as someone who's the first option gets injured, we are nowhere to be seen. And for me, that's not a good sign that he's been able to, build or cultivate a good style of play when clearly it's mostly player dependent, because any manager can do that. Any manager can sit there and say, oh, I need the best players in order to win games. Cool. But really the real barometer, I think, of coaching, especially in the league, is being able to coach a variety of players, different levels of talent and ability, temperament, all that malarkey, and be able to consistently finish, in a particular place. Top 4, top 10, top 2, whatever, winning the league. That's actually a better barometer, because anybody, if they had all the best players, could probably figure it out. But how about if you don't? How about if you have a couple of weak links? How about if you had a couple of weak links? How about if you have a couple of weak links? What are you going to do then? Exactly. So I was really annoyed that we didn't see that. But I was also happy to see that regardless of the changes made, the results kept being the same. The only thing that was different, actually, weirdly enough, as soon as Amad Diallo came on, look how the game changed. Look how the game changes when one of our better players and one of the players who's been able to keep the ball better comes on and plays well. Look what happens. Look what happens. And again, it's not to say Amad Diallo is going to change everything and he's our savior, because we have a savior complex at United anyway. But it's clear when Amad Diallo plays football for us, we play better. So I would just like to see in this short space of time, because Erik ten Hag doesn't have long at the club anymore. He should not be at the club anyway. He should not be our manager. He's fucking garbage. He got lucky that the Ineos were just cowardly and didn't want to pull the trigger and go for a managerial choice that was still as much as a risk as keeping him, because I guess Ineos looked at the climate. No, I guess Ineos looked at the landscape of managers available, and they were like to themselves, you know what? No one that's available right now is better than what we have, they thought, or is a clear upgrade. So they'd rather stay with him. And of course, a lot of it had to do with the fucking good feeling around the FA Cup game. So it wasn't really, there wasn't a lot of rational thinking behind it, or critical thinking behind it. But I hope now going forward, for the short time Erik ten Hag does have available at the club, just play your best players, bro. You're not gonna be here long enough anyway. Just play your best players and let them work it out. If you're not gonna coach them, if you're not gonna have a good style of play, whatever, just put your best players on the pitch. And one of these best players is Amad Diallo. And the more he doesn't pick him, and the more he continues to pick Rashford and doesn't sub him, like that's substitution at the end. That's substitution at the end. No one's saying Garnacho was playing like Ronaldo. Nobody is saying Garnacho was playing like fucking Messi. But taking off Garnacho before you take off Rashford? That already I know you're clueless. I know you're fucking clueless. If you're taking off Garnacho before you're taking off Rashford, I know you're clueless. Because one player does nothing, one player is at least trying to do something. Absolutely joked ting completely. Liverpool deserved the victory. Nothing more to be said really about how they played. Don't really give a fuck. I hope the whole fucking stadium burns down and they bust, fucking careers off the side of a mountain. Especially fucking, Trent Alexander-Arnold trying too hard to make us hate. Like, bro, your face is too soft. We're not gonna hate you the way we hated Steven Gerrard. We don't care. Do you know what I mean? You're not putting up numbers. You're not one of the best players. Relax. Like, trying way too hard to kind of be unlikable. I get it though. Fair play. It's a derby. They won. Hands up and shit. But God Almighty, man, when will we be able to put the beatings on Liverpool? When will we be able to put a real beating on City? A real beating on our local rival? Like, when will that happen ever again? Will we still be around to see United back to their pomp or back to where they belong? Even AC Milan have kind of recovered, right? Even Juve got relegated, they come back, they kind of recovered. We're the only side, we're one of the only last big teams are still struggling. Even Arsenal look like they're on their way. Arsenal figured it out somehow. They figured it out. Chelsea look like they might be figuring it out with fucking what's his name, Maresca over there. Even they look like they're figuring it out, and they've got 100 players on their books. Even he's gonna be figuring it out. But we're still in this lurch. It's so fucking annoying. I hate every part of it. I really do hate every part of it. And to be honest, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. That's the scary part of it. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. International break now. Probably the worst time for us anyway, international break, because it gives the players a reason to kind of like run away and not want to pay attention and not want to fix things. Because I think like another game is the best way to fix something. But we've got 2 weeks now with no United. I guess for my heart temperature, it's a good thing. But for the players, for the accountability, not a good thing at all. Not a good thing at all. And yeah, man, not surprised. Not surprised we lost the way we lost. And the manager's comments after the game. The manager's comments after the game. I don't know if Erik Ten Hag thinks we're silly, thinks we're dumb. I don't know if he thinks that we're dumb. I don't know if he like. On one side of things, I understand. If I was him, I guess we're all the same. If we're getting criticized, right? If we're getting criticized, it's really difficult to take it gracefully. It's really difficult to take accountability, especially when people are saying it's like all your fault, which it's not. It's not all his fault. It's mostly his fault, but it's not all his fault. If you had to, you know, attribute blame as a percentage, you would say Erik Ten Hag is probably 70% to blame. Right? 70% to blame. You'd probably say for our current predicament, probably 70% to blame. Maybe when we get Ugarte up and running and other players come in, maybe 80, but he's about 70% to blame. But the way he speaks after games, the comments about not being Harry Potter, the comments about us being the best team behind Man City, even though we finished 8th last season, only because of winning trophies. The comments about him going back for that journalist. God bless that journalist, by the way. God bless that journalist for telling him, hey, maybe it's your tactics, right? Have you ever considered maybe it might be your coaching? Oh no, how can it be my coaching? What mistakes have I made? He thought he put it on the man. The manager's so dumb. He thought he put it on the journalist. He thought he like put him up against the wall and gagged him. Oh, what mistakes am I making then? And the journalist just started listing mistakes. Bah, 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 bah. And, you know, he was just doing that weird fucking laugh. That weird psycho laugh going, it's like... And then obviously Arnie Sloth after the game, like succinctly broke down our tactics in like a minute, 30 seconds. He broke down how to beat us in a minute, 30 seconds. And obviously the proof's in the pudding because they won 3-0. I was like, you know what? Fair play, man. Fair play. I wanted you to fail. I wanted to call him the bold fraud, but unfortunately United have the bold fraud. Liverpool don't. Liverpool got 3 wins out of 3, and we're already 2 losses into the Premier League. We got 9 last season, the most we've ever had in our history. We're already on 2. Minus 4 goal difference. It's looking good, man. It's looking good. United are going to be up there. Oh, God almighty. United are going to be up there. What can you do? Moving on from that. Did anybody get Oasis tickets? I'm assuming not. I didn't get Oasis tickets. I tried. There was this mad queue thing. It kind of reminded me there was this like Central Sea raffle that happened a few months ago where I think he was raffling off some sort of car and you had to sign up, and I clicked on the link and it had one of these like queuing things. You had to like, oh, you are number whatever, stay in the queue with this little person walking. I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm not queuing. So it reminded me of that sort of system. So you click on the link and you're in this weird like digital queue system. And then I guess you're meant to wait there by your computer the whole time while they fucking spam your screen with ads. And then when you get in, you can pay whatever you want to pay for the tickets. Now, you know what's funny? I have a feeling, like most people, I'm going to go out and probably purchase my tickets from a reselling platform. Ticket Swap, all these places. Mostly Ticket Swap because those places are legit and easy to kind of verify. If you try and buy tickets off Twitter and Facebook and shit, you're going to get scammed. So I'm telling you right now, do not buy tickets online from people unless you know them, because they're usually scams. And I don't know why they do those scams, because it feels like these scams are like, they're so like low level. Like, why would you waste your time trying to scam somebody for like, especially rave tickets? Like I've seen people like trying to scam people for tickets like Fabric. It's like, bro, you're trying to scam me for like a £30 ticket to see fucking Villalobos in Fabric. But it's a standard thing people do. Whenever there's a big event, these bot accounts will pop up like, oh yeah, I've got a ticket to sell you. and then you send them the money, they don't send you a ticket, and then the account gets disappeared. So if you can, make sure you buy your tickets from like a verified third party fucking seller. But I think most people do that now. I don't think I'm in the minority, because most of the time, whenever tickets come out to something, I never rush to buy them ever, because in all of my life, I think maybe only 2 events have I wanted to go to that I tried to buy tickets on resale and it didn't exist, and that's only because I didn't really try too hard. But I think every event I've ever been to, if you've ever wanted to go, you can always find tickets available. People always resell. Now, obviously, with Oasis, people are going to be reselling these tickets mostly to make money. But there's going to be a bunch of people who bought these tickets with the intention of going. And then, as per usual, as the fucking date comes up, they're going to change their mind. It happens all the time. Now, it's not guaranteed there'll be a lot available. But I guarantee you, on the day, if you want tickets, you'll be able to get them. There's no such thing as a completely sold out event anymore. People are trying to resell, make money. People always change their mind. People are flaky, blah, 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 blah. And personally for me, I'm not sure about you guys, but I would much rather the convenience of just paying more to get what I want on the day, as opposed to like waiting around, entering a ticket, having an O2 SIM card, sending that through, like, why do that? I'd rather just, hey, here's my money, I'll buy it later, here's a resale price, cool, I'll do that, sayonara, let's keep it going. But unfortunately, a lot of people are angry. As you can see here, courtesy of a BBC article, Oasis ticket sales defended after fans' fury. It says here, Oasis ticket sales process has been defended by the boss of ticketing industry body after prices surged while fans queued online. Many fans were furious to find tickets escalating in prices. So scummy. Escalated in prices as the sale continued on Saturday, while others gave up on queuing or were kicked out of the system while they waited. Rachel Board of Devon told BBC News she'd woken up feeling like she'd been completely ripped off after paying £495 for a ticket, far higher than the £150 she had intended to pay. But ticketing websites were praised for coping with the enormous demand by Jonathan Brown, chief executive of the Society of Ticket Agents and Retailers, who stressed process was set by the brand. Throughout Saturday, hundreds of thousands of fans waited online to buy the tickets in hopes of being able to see Oasis live 15 years after the group had disbanded. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm one of the only people who say this, but I don't think there's a limit that you should pay for a live event. Controversial opinion. I think there's more reason for you to pay whatever it takes to get to see someone perform live than there is for you to pay whatever money it is for you to, like, buy a piece of clothing or eat somewhere or trainers or whatever. I would pay an unlimited amount to go and see Prince perform live when he was still alive, of course, because you never know a legend like that when they're still gonna be around. So if you like somebody, especially their art and their music, and you want to see them perform live, there should be no cap to how much you want to spend. That being said, if you get quoted $150 and they make you spend $500 and it's not on a resale site, that's a fucking piece of shit stuff. If they quote you $150 but then say actually it's £5, okay, now you're being a cunt. Because I remember seeing another article where not allegedly, actually, people confirmed it. This group of friends had booked a hotel to go and see, obviously, Oasis perform under the guise that they knew where the performance was going to be happening. I think they guessed where it was going to be, right? Or maybe it leaked. So they booked it ahead of the announcement. It gets announced, and then guess what the hotel does? They cancel all their rooms and then put them back up with a price hike. That is pure scumbag shit. Pure scumbag shit. You should be able to let people book in advance. If they get in before the price hike, you got in. You're the lucky one. You kind of outsmarted the system. Well done. People shouldn't be punished for kind of, being able to guess. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. It's almost similar to, like, you remember, like, if you're on an Uber and there's that weird surge thing. You know that when you're on Uber, sometimes late at night, especially in London, usually around like 11 to like 2 a.m. when like clubs are about to close and shit, there's like a surge price on Ubers. That would be the same way if like an Uber accepted you for a ride before the surge, then as they were coming to you, they cancelled because it was surge window, and then put themselves back up, and then when you went to go to them again, it was up by however much. That's how scummy that is. Like, no. I got in before the surge. I got in the day before it was announced where it was going to be venues. I booked my venue. Let me go now. Don't fucking, fucking punish me for having fucking, for having foresight. You know what I mean? Or for preempting it. It continues. Miss Board said that she decided to pay up when she finally moved it to the front of the queue as she got caught up in the vibe, but now she's questioning whether the ticketing for one of the Wembley shows was worth it. By the way, that's also a guaranteed way that's also a very smart way to guarantee people check out of their carts. You have to look at these people who manage these sites, right? Who manage these sites, who build these sites, who are responsible for e-commerce and checkout processes. They know what they're doing. They're very smart, creating this like digital queue system thing. And then once you get closer to the front of the quote unquote queue, you're more likely to pay whatever it is the final price is at the end, because you've been sitting by your computer or your phone for like 4 hours. Or maybe you're at work still. You just stayed over at work just to make sure you got your ticket. It's a very clever way to guarantee that person's basket gets fucking confirmed and they pay all the way through. Very, very clever. I'll be stuck paying it off on credit card. She said, adding that she doesn't get any extras despite paying higher price. It's just greed. Also among those waiting for the government was Minister Lucy Pole. The leader of the House of Commons bought 2 tickets in Manchester for $350 each. She told BBC, eventually I got through and bought a couple tickets for more than I was expecting to pay. Exactly. See, again, it was perfectly well. She said she did not practically like the surge pricing, but added, it is the market and how it operates. You absolutely got to be transparent about that so that when people arrive after hours or waiting, they understand that the ticket is going to cost more. Yeah, and like I said, I just don't think there's a price that I'm not willing to pay to go see people perform live. And that includes raves as well. Because I know, having been on a lot of trips, having been on vacation, having done a little bit of quote unquote traveling and shit, having bought a bunch of clothes and trainers over the years, the things that really live with you, I think experience-wise, are those live events. Going to festivals, going to gigs, going to raves and shit. So really and truly, if I love an artist, really, I'd pay it. And in this era where a lot of the shit is terrible, the reason why Oasis are such a popular band, even now, 15 years after the hiatus, is because a lot of bands out there, a lot of music out there just isn't as good as the stuff from previous years. It just is the way it is. It's different. It's different flavor, different taste, but it's just not as good as that previous shit. So if that's the case, whoever is my favorite artist, I'll pay whatever. If the Smiths, if Morrissey does a fucking residency somewhere here in the UK, I'm paying a bunch of money to see him play. I'm paying a bunch of money to see him play. If Maxwell was to come and play, I'm paying a bunch of money. I'm paying a bunch of money to see him play. So these people can perform. And even Usher, if he comes, like, come on. Usher came here. People went crazy for him as well. So I just don't think there should be a limit when it comes to these type of experiences, because you're really going to, when it does come around, you're going to be happy that you do. You're going to be happy that you did do it, you know, in my opinion. Wow. It's look at the term of it. The term for it is called dynamic pricing. There's a term for it. Dynamic pricing. What is that? What the fuck does that even mean? Dynamic pricing for Ticketmaster, where prices rise in line with demand, sparked criticism for many fans after some tickets were set at more than $350, up from $135 when the sale began. Mr. Brand told BBC pricing is set by artists and their management. Oasis and the band's promoters have been asked for a response to this. Dynamic pricing is not new and allowed under consumer protection law. How can dynamic pricing be under consumer law? Like, honestly, what the fuck is... how can that be like a good thing for consumers? Dynamic pricing. So tickets increase as the demand increases. What? How does that even make any sense? Mr. Brand highlighted how surge pricing is also used to hotel, but that's not the same thing though, because you're buying a finite amount of tickets. There's not a finite amount of Ubers, because they kind of, you know, they get free every time somebody gets a drop off. So you can't make the same thing, the same argument. It's not the same thing at all. People are used to that shift in pricing. I consider it unfair when the train ticket is much higher than I'm willing to pay. Asked why there was a spike in prices later in the day when there was been a higher demand for the onset, he said he did not know. While he accepted not everything had been going through perfectly, he said people underestimate what a good operation and it priced the tickets website for dealing with huge demand. Mr. Brown's technology is used to distinguish between a bot and a human being. Actions taken by the customer, such as rapid refreshing of a screen using VPN, could seen as emulate a bot, he said. You have to have something in place that resists the bots, otherwise these tickets may very well go to these people who are going to resell them. Cool, that's fair enough. I understand what he means by the resale, because obviously we've got the same thing with sneakers. I would offer two different solutions. Number one solution would be, why don't you from the outset do it this way, where you set all the tickets available as GA, general admission, standing room, whatever, non-allocated seats, you have those available. And those are a finite amount, but you have the majority of those tickets available for their standard price, whether it's £100, £50, whatever. When those tickets run out, the next tickets that are available are obviously the ones that are designated, which are going to be a little bit more higher, and then have those at set price, and then continue forth. Or do the opposite way. Make all the tickets available, but then say, if you're willing to pay, like imagine you put, no, like, or the other option will be, continue with a queue system, but then have an option that refreshes every couple of minutes that says, if you're willing to pay 4 times the value of this ticket, you can get it right now. So imagine if it says, hey, this ticket is normally £150, but if you're willing to pay £500 within this next 60 seconds, the ticket is yours. Fine. But at least you're being upfront. What these people are saying is that they got in the queue, it said 150, then when they got to the end, it said 500. That's a piss take. That's obviously a scam. Or you get in the queue, it says you're going to buy it, then you get to the end and there's no tickets available. That's obviously scamming. The best way would be how Prince did it. I think it was one of his last tours. When Prince was touring, he was known for being like a bit of a sticker when it comes to ticket prices and shit. So he effectively had all the tickets, I think, be like $50, $30 or something across the board. Didn't matter where you were sitting, all tickets were the same price. You just had to pick where you wanted to sit. That I'm not too worried about. That is probably unlikely to happen. Like, you know, there's a lot of kind of 360 deals attached to live shows, record industries are wanting to put their hand in your pocket, ticket masters involved with record labels and shit. It's very difficult for artists to kind of set those prices because it's not really under their control. But that would be maybe a better way to go, especially after 15-year hiatus. You want to make the experience for the buyer as easy as possible. But I just think that dynamic ticket pricing thing is just so scummy. That is the height of scumbaggedness to be like, oh, dynamic pricing. As the demand goes up, so does the fucking pricing. It's like, what? How does that make any sense? What? How does that make any sense? It's honestly like going to the supermarket to buy some bread or whatever, and then because it's the last loaf available, it's now 3 times the value. What? Because, oh, it's sold out. No, it isn't. When you get there, if you find the last one, you buy it. If you don't find the last one, you buy something else. Or you don't. You leave empty-handed. That's how it should always be. I don't understand how they flipping make things like this. It's just annoying. I absolutely despise this type of approach, but I think greed is absolutely strong. And I guess in some respects, this is probably a reaction to record labels not being able to get a lot of money out of artists these days, even through streaming. So the only way they can really get some real money is from live shows. That's why they fucking increase prices. Booking fees are crazy. Like, you know, even smaller artists, even smaller artists, you know, like they're charging like $100 for a ticket. You're like, bruh, you're a nobody. Like, how are you charging $100 for a ticket when nobody knows who you are? It makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand it. Never will understand it. But I guess in some respects, these things are never going to change. They are never, ever going to change. Big up everybody in the stream chat that's hanging in there. Appreciate all of you. Who have I got in here? Big up Charles Lucas, I see you in there. Big up Cambridge Footballer, I see you in there. Big up Haidogo, I see you in there. Wagwan, thank you for tuning in. What's the deal? Who else do I have here? Big up Charles Lucas, I think I said earlier. Big up Chris Mack, I see you. Big up Auntie Ashley Cummins. What's going on, darling? Hope you're good. Who else is in here? 7:30, I saw you. Big up everybody in the stream chat hanging in there. I appreciate all of you. Make sure you smash the like button down below for me if you see me. Big up ALME as well. I see you. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Continuing on. Talking about more bad news for the UK. Look at this. Outdoor smoking ban at pubs being considered. Can you imagine? Whenever I say sometimes that the UK is home of anti-fun, or is the capital or the home of anti-fun, people laugh at me. Oh, you're being dramatic. Stop over-exaggerating. Look at what you see here. They're going to ban smoking in an outdoor smoking area. So where are you meant to smoke now? This is coming from a non-smoker. Where are you meant to smoke now? If you can't smoke in an outdoors smoking area, where are you meant to smoke? Like the government's trying to tell you what you should and shouldn't do with your body. Cool. Fairs? Let's continue and read the article. It says here, Sir Keir Starmer has confirmed the government is looking at tougher rules on outdoor smoking to reduce the number of preventable deaths linked to tobacco use. Responding to reports that smoking could be banned in some outdoor spaces in England, the Prime Minister said, We have got to take action to reduce the burden on NHS. The details remain unclear, but smoking could be banned in pubs, gardens, outdoor restaurants, and outside hospitals and sports grounds. Health experts have welcomed the plans, but BBC has been told that some ministers raised concern about the impact the ban could have on the hospitality sector. Some business owners have already raised concerns. Pub landlady Lisa Barrage, 55, said pubs should choose whether or not to smoke free, and it's not up to the government to decide that. Exactly. The other thing as well, I think in this regard is, surely, if this is the case, like, let's believe for a second, let's extend a leaf or a branch of good grace, of benefit of doubt to the government and say, maybe they've seen the statistics and the data, and maybe it is true that a lot of the reasons why there's such a big backlog and huge queues for NHS services nowadays and hospitals and GPs all over the fucking country is because a lot of people are being admitted for like smoking related illnesses or diseases. And those things are quite preventable, right? It's one thing having a chronic illness and shit, but having, suffering for something related to nicotine, which you can stop and quit if need be, is probably putting an untold amount of strain on NHS. So the only way to kind of get that strain away and reduce the queues is say, you know what, we need to limit the amount people are smoking. That is understandable. But if that's the case, release the data. I think the numbers and the data, if they released it and said, hey, the majority of the queues that you're seeing in the NHS now in your local hospital is because X, Y, and Z group of people between these type of ages, more and more are being fucking admitted to hospital with these related illnesses, whatever. But they're not releasing any data. I haven't seen so far hard evidence or data that kind of backs this up. It just seems to be one of those things that just doesn't make any sense in the grand scheme of things. And considering the amount of clubs and bars and pubs across the country that are closing, this is just another reason why nightlife in the hospitality sector is really on its knees in the UK, despite being a easy money maker for the government, especially in terms of the London being one of the major parts of our, GDP. It seems as if they really do take the piss. They really, really, really do take the piss when it comes to flipping nightlife. Like, they don't give a fuck about it. They really don't give a fuck about it. Like, they could, if they wanted to, if it was up to them, they would probably get rid of all the bars and clubs anyway, if they could get away with it. But they probably can't, because it does, again, contribute to the underlying London GDP. But it's just like, to what end is this really serving? Because I'm of the thinking, if you're smoking now, with the amount of information that's available now, with the amount of cigarette boxes that have those fucking crazy images of like lung disease and all this type of malarkey, with everything that we know, with access to Google, if you're smoking now, you're a smoker. Cool, do you. But no amount of government intervention is ever going to make you stop smoking. Nothing. Even if they decide to ban all the open, outdoors, public smoking areas, people are just going to find other ways to smoke. They're just going to find other ways, whether it's going around the corner, standing on the fucking pavement. They're just going to find another way because they're smokers. This is what they do. So I don't think these government interventions are going to have the impact that they think it's going to have. If anything, it's just going to cause people more annoyance, and they're just going to figure out other ways to do the things that they enjoy. Personally, it continues. This will just be another hurdle we have to face in hospitality, and we can do without it. Tony Harding, a publican, a publican in Salisbury, said residents who live near his pub would probably not be happy with the punters being smoking and blocking the pathway on the street instead of a nice comfortable garden. Exactly. I didn't even think about that logistically. I didn't even think about that. So now the government wants to take, imagine like a Wetherspoons or any type of regular pub in wherever you live in the UK. They usually will have like a smoking area in the front, like a cornered off little section. In most Wetherspoons, it's usually like a little square in front of it, like every other pub, there's a smoking area. That's actually quite, even though there's a lot of condensed smoke in that one area, that's actually quite reasonable and comfortable for everybody else, because you just keep everybody in one space, in one rectangle, in one square. If what the government want to be enacted does get approved, you're going to have people just walking up and down the street smoking, standing on the fucking pavement, taking up loads of space. Then what? So now you're going to be requiring security and bouncers and door pickers to be like street pavement ushers. Hey guys, move down the street. Like, it's already annoying for bouncers anyway inside of the club, because they have to keep people out in front of the street, because if you keep people in front of the street, so if you keep people in front of the club or in front of the bars on the pavements, they just gather around and they make noise. If they make noise, it's going to disturb the neighbors. Neighbors will complain. License gets taken away. Eventually, club has to close. So they have to keep shooing people away. It's a constant, no, go away, go away. Are you coming in or are you going away? Go, continue on. If you want to come in, come in. If you don't, continue on. So now they're going to have to do that with smokers. Fucking hell. Smokers chatting away, having a good time, talking to their potential future husband or wife or collaborator, and you're gonna be telling them to kind of shoot. It's gonna be a nightmare, bro. It's gonna be such hard work. It's such a ball of people that work there. Really will be. But the PM stressed that the health impact in this message: tobacco use in the UK's single biggest. What? Hold on. Tobacco use is the UK's single biggest preventable cause of death, killing 2/3 of long-term users and causing 8,000 deaths every year. Health authorities say there's no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke. I'm sorry, but much like COVID, I felt like with COVID, there was a clear sign or feeling that governments around the world were trying to get to the point of preventing all deaths from COVID. That's what it felt like. That's why towards the end, people started to get a little bit fatigued by the lockdowns. Because like, look, this virus is real and it's crazy and it's claiming the lives of a bunch of people that we all know and love, but we have to get back to living. We can't just be cowering away in our homes, fearful that we're going to die from this virus. If it takes you, it takes you. That's what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. This idea you're going to prevent deaths across the board is diabolical. People are people. People are fucking idiotic. They're going to put themselves in harm's way for fun, if need be. And the more you actually prevent them from doing so, they're going to go out of the way to do it anyway. They're going to go out of the way to do it anyway. So if anything, do it with some level of like controls, some level of supervision, some levels of, you know, whatever, where you can kind of oversight. Just letting people go and do it on their own and their free will is absolutely insane and doesn't actually go to kind of fix the issues. Like I said, when people are annoyed, they're going to find really interesting ways to kind of get around it anyway. So this isn't going to actually work the way they think it's going to work, in my personal opinion. In any new ban would apply only to England. It's not yet clear if it would apply to the rest of the UK, though devolved governments could not also bring similar rules. Well, taking off the back of that, I also wanted to check this out because they're talking about it in Australia and how it's worked. So I wanted to see, courtesy of this article, courtesy of the fucking BBC, about how this smoking ban actually works in Australia, because I'm curious. Like, clearly there's some reason why they're doing this. Conspiracy theory would be that, I don't know. What would the conspiracy theory be? Maybe if you limit smoke, maybe if you limit the amount of people that are smoking outside of pubs and bars, maybe that increases the, I don't know, the value of the properties. Maybe that's something to be tied into it. Maybe, and there's already been, you know, there's stories out here about MPs being landlords and being shitty landlords. Maybe a lot of MPs owns a lot of land in the UK or buildings where pubs are, but a lot of the value of those pubs and buildings is being decreased because of the amount of people that are hanging around smoking and leaving, you know, buildings with smoke damage. I don't know. Maybe there's something to do with that. I don't really know. That's the only conspiracy theory I can have, because it doesn't seem to be any other logical reason why you would prefer to not have a designated smoking area outside where you can kind of control and see who's there, as opposed to just having people just like in the streets smoking wherever. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let this courtesy of this BBC, what the outdoor smoking ban in Australia could tell us about the UK's future. So, Jack Berman takes a long drag and then excels. Slowly in the covered terrace of a 150-year-old pub in Sydney Beach suburb. Around him are others like him, pub goers enjoying the winter sun and a beer in one hand. On the other side of the pub, patrons are tucking into their lunches. There's no cloud of smoke around their heads, nor anyone angled away from their neighbour. This is how smoking is regulated in pubs in Australia, where bans at many outdoor spaces have been in place for 2 decades. As the government looks to clamp down on outdoor smoking, could Australia, where smoking has plummeted over 25 years, be a model, and how the pubs have coped? So they're really trying to say Australia has done the same thing for 2 decades and smoking has come down. So maybe if you prevent people from doing things easily, there's going to come a point where they're going to be like, you know what, I just give up. I'm just going to pay. It's almost like Photoshop, right? Or Serato. There was a point where I kept like having ripped pirated copies of those apps, but then it got to a point where they made it as hard as possible, especially on Mac, to have a lot of cracked software, that now a lot of us just pay subscriptions. Okay, cool. I don't want to pay the subscription, but because you're making it so hard for me to have a pirated copy, I'm just going to pay it. So maybe if they exhaust the options, most of us will end up complying. Maybe. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said the government is looking to tighten the outdoor smoking rules to help reduce the number of preventable deaths. In Australia, rules vary from state to state, but broadly speaking, at pub gardens and parks, designated smoking sections are set up to protect non-smokers from secondhand smoke. at beaches and clubs, and smoking is banned altogether. That's what we already have. So they have designated smoking. That's what we already have that. As Berman has been smoking since he was 15 and lived through the Australians' reforms. Back then, you could smoke on trains and cinemas everywhere, really. But while pub culture has evolved, it doesn't feel left behind, evidence the fact that having a pint at midday with an old mate. A short walk away, there's a table of young men who are self-confessed social smokers. They smoke when they've had a bit too much to drink, but not often, they say. When the urge strikes, James Beltram, a 28, he doesn't mind having another section of the pub. He likes the random social interactions of smoking area. You sort of meet new people. It creates a different atmosphere. So this is what we have already, no? But Kenny, 26, finds it all a bit grim. I feel like smoking areas are often a way for everything, and it's in some random spot, like it's not an experience that you seek out. Now, that's not true. Some of my best social experiences, some of my best conversations that I don't remember now, but some of my best interactions with human beings have been in smoking areas. I don't even smoke. So I think smoking areas are usually, especially in England anyway, are such a great way to kind of break the ice, especially how people are a little bit like, you know, closed off and cliquey and cold and shit. Smoking areas can be a good way to kind of forge or force a new friendship. Having grown up in smoke-free environments, though, everyone sitting around the table agrees on one thing. Having to breathe in secondhand fumes in public would be a bit bleak. Traveling to Europe and seeing people smoking in restaurants outdoors is novelty, and for a minute it's cool. But then after a while, you realize you have butts everywhere on the ground. It's pretty gross. Like right now, for example, I'm pretty glad no one is blowing smoke in my face. That's a lie. I kind of don't mind it when I come back from like places like Berlin and I have that bit of smoke in me. Kind of reminds you of my trip. Sort of like you can kind of, you know, I remember her or I miss her type of thing. So I don't really mind it, to be fair. And to be honest, I don't think I see... Just from my own naked eye, I don't think I see more people smoking when I go to places in Europe where they allow people to smoke in bars and shit than I do in the UK. It's the same amount. I personally think. I don't think it's any different, you know. And places like Berlin, like they have the ability to like drink in pub gardens until like 11 p.m. Sometimes 12. In the UK, pub gardens are like closed at like 8 p.m., which is brutal, considering how little sun we get in the UK anyway. The little sun we do get, you should let people be outside for as long as possible, but they only let you stay out until like 8 p.m. at the most, because most pubs are like in residential areas and people complain. It's like, fucking hell, bro. If you live next to a pub, you can't really dictate when the pub opens and closes. That's gentrification is just the lack of fucking like balance and fairness in gentrification is always the thing that's annoyed me. I'm not really that annoyed and pissed off about gentrification in general because it's bound to happen, right? Living in a capitalist world. But I feel like the lack of like balance and consideration for either party is really annoying. It's always favored, it's always weighted on the side of the fucking developers or the residents. That's all it's favored on. It's never something, okay, cool, we're going to come to the table and come to like a, you know, a mutual agreement, something that kind of works for both parties. We're going to come to some level of compromise. It's always the fucking landlords or the pub landlords or the club, you know, owners having to compromise fully and be like, oh yeah, we'll close our pub garden at 7 p.m. because there's residential area. It's like, bro, you live around the pub and a club. That's your decision. It's not your fault, but you decide to live here. Let them be open when they want to be open. Like, come on, man. It's just, yeah. At least meet in the middle, at least. Like 8 p.m. to close a pub garden makes no sense to me. It continues. Having grown up with everyone is sitting around, the table agrees on one thing. Not everyone feels the same about the new rules. A few blocks away, 33-year-old old security guard Rob, who would only give his first name, is on a break smoking in a hallway. He still vividly remembers at the time, he puts it, Australia loved to smoke. Back in the 80s, teachers would smoke in classroom, parents would smoke in public transport. Now they're trying to police everything. No smoking sign hovering mere inches above his head. Smokers pay top dollar for cigarettes and we're brutally discriminated. Only an Australian would try and become a victim because they're not allowed to smoke everywhere and anywhere. Because they're not allowed to go to like their kids' primary school and blow fucking huge clouds up in the primary ground while they wait for their kids to come out. Come on, man. This smoking discrimination is fucking hilarious. Gotta love Australians, man. They have absolutely no shame. 9 times out of 10, there's no benefit to actually visit a licensed venue because you won't be able to enjoy a drink and smoke at the same time. While pubs have become beer gardens, many don't have outdoor spaces for smoking sections is regulated in the gambling room. It's affecting licensed venues. They're losing customers. Now they try to keep them inside the VIP gambling lounge, which leads to smokers spending more money on gambling machine. Oh my God, look at that. Of course, there's always a rub. There's always a grift. There's always a hook. There's always a way to make money. Now they try to keep them inside the VIP gambling lounge, which leads to smokers spending more money on gambling machines, and we all know gambling isn't cool. So they don't want you to smoke in most areas, but then when the area they put you to smoke, they want to keep you busy because you're not making them any money while you're smoking. You're drinking your drink slower, you're talking to people, you're just wasting time. You're not at the bar constantly. So they want to get something out of you. So they put fucking slot machines there. There you go. Here's a slot machine. Fucking hell. I've definitely noticed less people out and about smoking in public as a result of these laws. Public health experts, that's exactly the goal. Having an impact. Daily smoking across Australia has now been down to 8.3 from 16% in 2022. That's not a lot. Is that really worthwhile? Daily smoking rates in Australia are now down to 8.3% from 16% in 2000 and 24% in 1991. Experts attribute that a mix of policies, including banning adverts for tobacco, health warnings, and plain packaging on cigarettes, and high product taxes, but smoke-free environments have been the key to stamping out the smoking in public. Lawmakers took smoking bans outdoors in the 2000s. Health authorities were concerned about the impact of secondhand smoke when a non-smoker breathes in inhaled smoke. It is a guidance above passive and a second-hand smoking. Cancer research says the UK's the UK's National Health Insurance Service says that second-hand smoke is a lethal cocktail of more than 4,000 irritants, toxins, and cancer-free causing substances. You know what I would say? I would actually want a solution where they did the opposite. Okay, we all know smoking's bad. I don't even smoke, so I'm advocating for this just purely for the smokers. I'm like the smoking Jesus. Why don't we have a solution where they designate certain pubs and bars or clubs with the ability to have the regular smoking that we have now, where you can smoke in designated bits of the smoke, you can smoke in designated areas of the beer garden, and you can smoke in designated areas in front of the pub. Why doesn't that exist? So then you have the option as a punter to decide, I'm going to go to this smoke-free bar, or I'm going to go to this smoker's bar. So when you go there, you don't complain. If your whole entire body ends up smoking a fucking Marlboro Lights, that's because you went to the smoker's bar. If you don't want to smell that and you want to smell of like shitty scented candles and shit and fucking JD, then you go to that other bar. That's perfectly fine, but they won't do that. All they want to do is stamp it out, force you not to do it, and it's not even like they improved the fucking experience. There was that annoying, really terrible fucking picture I saw recently. Some woman shared it on Twitter actually, where she paid $17.95. This woman allegedly paid $17.95 for a large glass of white wine. Right? You know, white ladies love their white wine. This glass of white wine had 2 ice cubes in it, which is really kind of, a little bit lame. But it was also in a plastic cup. This woman was sat in a, let's say, like a cocktail bar somewhere in Islington, which is a nice part of London, and she paid $17.95 for a large glass of white wine. So you're gonna take away my fucking smoking areas. You're gonna take away part of the reason why we go out and we socialize, we go hang out, and we have a good time. And you're not even gonna try and put some of that monies or whatever into the experience of the pub and bar itself and improve the quality of the drinks or the offerings, or even just dignify me and treat me like a fucking adult and give me a glass. If I'm asking for a glass of wine, I want a glass. I don't want a plastic cup of wine. No, but they give you that, and they put, and for good measure, to make sure you don't notice that it's actually not like a large glass, it's actually a medium, but they added 2 ice cubes in it to make it look more full. And they obviously give it to you in a really big, large white glass, in a very big, transparent, plastic cup, so it feels like you're drinking way more than you actually are. Absolute scumbags across the board. Absolute scumbags across the board. It doesn't get any worse than that. I swear to God. I swear to God. Big up the stream chat. Big up everybody tuning in. I appreciate all of you. Big up Ochia. Welcome to Ochia in the chat. I'm not saying none of this is debatable, by the way. Here in Michigan, we have a very tight smoking in public rules, but the state is also so stupid that you can ride your motorcycle without a helmet. Yeah, that's the thing. Exactly. There we go. We've got a million potholes. We've got cyclists dying every couple of minutes on the fucking trains. Also on the roads. We've got trains that barely come on time. We've got buses that are exorbitant. Train prices that are crazy. And the thing you think is going to save the economy is people smoking. The thing you think is going to save the NHS is limiting queues by bro. Why don't you? Whatever. Ocho knows what I'm talking about. Okay, you have what you got? Yes, we have smoking bars here in the US too, and even go, but not all of them are other rules. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not even smoking bars. Just have just designate certain bars and places to have the ability to just have the old rules. Hey, we have the old rules in place. If you want to come and smoke somewhere where you can smoke in the beer garden and smoke outside, you come here. Then you can decide as a customer, as a grown-up, where you want to spend your money. Do you want to go to a place where they allow you to smoke outside, or the place where they make you smoke down the street somewhere? Then you decide. Up to you. It's not that bad. I think most people will be happy to do that. I just don't like the force. It's just always a force I've always hated personally for me. Same thing at work. I remember there was a period, I'm sure some of you guys remember this as well. There was a period at most people's workplaces where you'd went to work and there was always like a kitchen area in your place of work where they had snacks. For a short period of time, maybe before the pandemic, there was always like offerings of loads of good, horrible snacks basically for your health. Loads of sugary stuff, but a mix. Some healthy, some bad shit. But you could choose what you wanted to eat. If it was a Kit Kat, you wanted to have some trail mix. But then I feel like something happened just before the pandemic where suddenly all companies stopped having like unhealthy snacks and everyone was like having those fruit boxes or really healthy snacks, vegan this, and it felt annoying because it was almost like just because there are certain people that can't able to control the way they eat or are maybe fat or whatever it may be, that doesn't mean everyone else has to be punished. You have to make informed choices on what you put in your mouth based on what's available. You shouldn't be forcing the ones who want to eat the shittiest things to eat the healthy things just because the people that are fat are the ones that are complaining or crying. It's just annoying. That force thing is never something I'm okay with. Give people the option. Let people make informed decisions. And if it leads to their demise, that is the way it is. Like, you can't prevent everybody from dying. It just isn't possible, in my personal opinion. But again, I could be wrong. Moving on. Wanted to quickly touch upon this because I don't think I really did touch upon it. Drake's 100 gigs for your head top website has been updated with 3 new songs. Actually, it was 3. I think one's missing from here. There was 3. There's only 5 listed, but the 2 new ones most of the people are talking about are the 3 new ones are these. Yeah, the 3 new ones are No Face, SOD, and Circadian Rhythm. Obviously, the best one in this 3 pack is No Face. The original version had Playboy Carti on it, but now he's off it, so it's just a Drake only record. The beat is incredible. Drake's flow on it is fucking superb. I love everything about it. If anything, these 3 packs he's dropping, I'm not too sure if he's making them in the process of him dropping them, like similar to like the diss records. I'm not sure if that's the case, or if these are old records that he's just finishing. But if it is the former and he's actually making these in a moment every few weeks and then releasing them on his website, the guy's on another level because you're seeing the improvements. If anything, these records are probably stronger than what was on the album. I'm not gonna lie, these are really fucking good and gave me a good hope for what we're gonna see in the future coming from Drake. And I really do like this approach. I like the approach of like I'm sure he has accepted by now that he's lost a battle with with Kendrick. I don't think as many people are trying to make it seem like he's trying to fucking start a round 2. I don't think that's the case. I just think he'd rather answer the critics and kind of win his way by releasing more music. Let me just go back to releasing more music. I didn't take the beef seriously anyway, which I think was a big mistake. Kendrick won convincingly, I thought, towards the end. So now, let me just do what I do best, which is put out, great songs, break fucking streaming records, and just continue to service my fans. And that's all we want. As Drake fans, really, I don't really give a shit that, people don't think he's better than Kendrick as a rapper. I personally will always prefer Drake as an artist anyway. As much as I enjoy what Kendrick does, his stuff is never going to hit the same way that Drake's music is going to hit. It's just the way it is because I grew up on that music and it kind of, signifies a point in life for me, blah, 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 just because he's, might be one of my favorite artists. But regardless, I'd much rather he just focus on this because clearly we've seen when it comes to the war dubs, when it comes to the battling, when it comes to the, being able to, lyrically dissect your opponent, no one comes close to Kendrick. Like, Kendrick's on a league of his own. Like, I think he reminded people, probably people like myself who were maybe naysayers, that his pen, his ability to rap, his ability to dissect, his ability to reference, and the little head, like, it's just another level. Really another level. When it comes to pure artistry, though, probably not as good as Drake, but when it comes to battling, there's no reason why anyone should try and even come close to Kendrick. He should definitely be left alone. But I'm happy to hear these records. No Face obviously being a great one. SOD is fantastic. Even more so now that Lil Yachty's not on it. I thought Lil Yachty kind of ruined it personally. Kind of ruined it. So I'm happy to see him off the record. As Circadian Rhythm, I didn't really like it anyway, to be completely honest. I didn't really like it in the slightest. So really happy with those 3 packs. Hope he continues. I also like all the BTS footage we're seeing. It's good to know that despite him not being the most showy person of the most showy person with his process, it's good to know that from the very beginning, Drake was documenting his fucking journey. He was documenting all the things that happened behind the scenes. And it's good to see that although he has like a 20 v1 against him during his battle, it's good to see that the majority of the reason why that you know, animosity existed with other artists is just pure jealousy. It's quite refreshing, I'm not gonna lie. Part of me didn't want to believe that it was Drake being a terrible person and he's really conniving and he's a dirtbag guy that will fuck your girl behind your back and make her get an abortion, all this sort of shit. No. The main reason why a lot of those guys didn't like Drake and they were coming at him and they were using the Kendrick beef as an opportunity to kind of knock him off his perch was because they were just fed up of him being #1. They were fed up of him winning. They were fed up of him having the best splits in music, which I've also only learned recently. Bear with me for being naive, but the music industry is well known for not being the best place for artists to extract money from. Like, you don't really make a lot of money out of music. You make most of your money being able to perform the music that you do or sell merch. But obviously, if you're a top 1% artist like the Taylor Swift and the Drakes and shit, you can kind of dictate your terms. You can dictate your splits. So Drake was allegedly able to get like a $400 million deal and crazy splits and shit because he's obviously the person that dominates most of the streams. He's the one in everybody's end of year Spotify wrap up and shit. He's the kind of #1 person. So if you're an artist coming up and he's that one guy, he's been that one guy for 10 plus years, and then allegedly according to Academics mentioned once on his stream that he's heard behind the scenes that when Drake does a song with an artist, let's say he does a song with Rick Ross and shit, that collab he does with Rick Ross, he never charges. So he doesn't charge. He says it's your song, but what he will do, he'll just claim the streaming revenue from it. So 100% that's mine. So maybe 90% he'll just take it. But all the money you can earn from it will be what you can earn from what you do on the road. But the streaming revenue, everything that I get, because I'm Drake. So I guess some of those artists that had that deal were happy with it in the beginning because just having a tune with Drake, even if he gets all the streaming revenue from it, it's still good for you because he's such a big artist. But I guess as time goes on, you know, you start to look at that money, you're like, oh shit, I could be getting a lot of money for this fucking, you know, for this Maybach Music fucking song. I could be having a lot more money in my bank account. So I understand the jealousy, but I'm just happy to see it's just pure jealousy of just him being #1 as opposed to him being a dirtbag sort of a guy. So that's been quite comforting to hear because a lot of people are trying to make it seem like, oh, he's this bad dude that's splitting up marriages and all this sort of malarkey. He's got a secret daughter. It's like, bruh, he's just been #1 for too long. Maybe it just gets annoying after a certain while. He also doesn't play the game. He's also kind of in his own place. All the girls like him. I understand. I get it. I get why you're annoyed. But unfortunately for them, it didn't work. And now we're back to just releasing music. And I'm okay with it personally because I think Kendrick now, most people that weren't fans of his or that were on the fence about him have been reminded very, very clearly that he's a top percentile MC and rapper. And they're going to be excited for his music when it drops as well. So I think both sides kind of got a lot out of it. Obviously, the battle, Kendrick won decidedly. You can't really deny that. But I also have to say, much time has gone by. I'm still replaying some of these Drake diss records. Am I doing the same thing for the Kendrick ones? Not really. You know, that's the major thing. I think Not Like Us has been, it's almost been, you know, beat like a dead horse. I think people have made it not sound cool when it actually is cool and it is an actual banger. I think the pushiness of fans to remind Drake fans, oh, you lost, has kind of killed that record for the most part. But in general, I think both sides have been fed. Kendrick fans are happy. They got loads of activity from him, loads of music from him, and most likely an album by the end of the year. Drake fans also should be happy because he got reminded that, you know, there's still another artist out there who's maybe better than you at rapping. So watch your P's and Q's. But he's also been able to kind of service his fans and give us music. So I think across the board, you know, for lack of being a fence sitter, I think both sides did win. And I'm happy to see Drake put out this sort of material and give it directly to the fans. So big up Drake for doing that. 100gigs.org. Check it out. It's fucking great. And also like I also like that he's got a public finster. I love that he's got that plot twist public, not so private finster that we can all see. It's pretty cool. It's also sad because it goes to show that everyone treats their main profile like their brand. So Champagne Puppy profile is the one where it's Drake, you know, personified, but he can't do all that fun shit like uploading random pictures of him in the studio and behind the scenes stuff. All that has to be uploaded on the Plot Twist account, which is a bit annoying. I mean, I'd like to see that be available everywhere, but it is what it is. Continuing on, more about music. Destroy Lonely, Love Lasts Forever. What an incredibly underwhelming, incredibly forgettable album. I can't sit here now and say that I take one record from this album that I remember, apart from maybe the collab with Ken Carson. There's not one record, not one song on this entire album that I can recite or remember what it was about. It all sounded the same. It all sounded like it was the same tempo, the same amount of energy went into the records. It was completely uninspired, completely unoriginal, and a complete waste of time, really, especially considering how long we've been waiting for it to drop and how eagerly we're anticipating it as being Destroy Lonely fans. But I can't say I'm surprised. And the reason why I can't say I'm surprised, if you follow a lot of like opium related pages on social media and shit, if you follow a lot of Destroy Lonely Ken Carson fan accounts and shit, you would have noticed that Destroy Lonely in the last few months and years has been very outside, to the point where he got into a bit of trouble with an ex-girlfriend that allegedly he was beating, and then there was a picture, a video of him begging the best friend to not put out the footage. It was fucking sussy. But he's been outside a lot more. He's been traveling, he's been doing the damn thing, and lately he's been dating one of the Claremont twins. I think so, allegedly. He's hanging out with them anyway. And I thought to myself when I saw those pictures, I was like, oh, he's lost the hunger, man. This new music is not going to be good. It's either going to be really amazing because he's out here fucking, you know, smashing baddies and, you know, living his dreams and traveling around the world, and he's going to put that into his music, or this is going to be the worst thing we've ever heard because he's hanging around with the Claremont twins doing whippets and coke and just living that rock star life and getting his dick sucked in a fucking club toilets. And unfortunately, that's what this music sounds like. This music sounds like music is not his first priority anymore. It makes good money for him, fair enough, but he's not in the studio slaving over tunes and pouring his heart out on records and putting together melodies and choruses. It's really, really bad. And the really sad thing about it is that out of Destroy Lonely and Ken Carson, I always thought that Destroy Lonely was the way more talented one, but Ken Carson was maybe the more harder worker, but the tunes just weren't as good. So I was kind of focusing more of my attention on Destroy Lonely. But over time, I think I've noticed that Ken Carson takes his artistry way more seriously. Like even just a little thing of him like losing some weight to look better on stage. So he's more mobile and stuff. That just shows me that obviously it's an aesthetic auras type of thing. I get it. But it also shows me that you take your artistry seriously. You're trying to get into shape because you know you've got a whole run of shows, live performances, touring that you're going to do. You're going to be doing a lot of media. You want some new pictures out there of you because you got all those weird pictures of you being a bit chubby and shit. And you want to kind of have a new change, a new look of you, and you're presenting yourself to the public. I think that's you taking your artistry seriously. When I see Destroy Lonely out here in clubs at all times with glasses on, with the Claremont twins looking fantastic, I don't think of someone making music. I don't think of someone being locked in. And unfortunately, this album is proof that he's not locked in at all. And the fall off has already begun. And it's sad because he's only 23. And you'd imagine now that he's made the money he's made. He's kind of established. He's an important, integral member of Opium. Most likely, he might be even featured on this up-and-coming, soon-to-be-announced, probably Playboi Carti album from, what's his name? From Playboi Carti called Baby Boy, I think, coming out soon. But I don't think he's as locked in as he should be. And the scary thing about it is that even if he is locked in, let's say, for instance, I'm incorrect. Let's say Destroy Lonely is locked in. The scary thing is, this album, according to Destroy Lonely, took more than a year to make. It took more than a year to make this album, and it's fucking garbage. If this is what locked in sounds like, you have to be very worried if you're a Destroy Lonely fan. You have to be very, very worried because this was not good in the slightest, and I'm concerned for the future. Really, I'm concerned for the future for him because it seems like he's fallen off already. He can't make different songs. They all sound the same. It's incredibly boring and forgettable. I don't remember one song from it, and I just wished, I was hoping that it would finish. And that's not a good sign. Whenever I listen to the album and I keep checking how many songs I got left, that's not a good sign. That isn't a good sign. And I'm not someone that skips. At least for the first record, or for the first listen, sorry. I'll try and listen to it the whole way through. But trying to listen to this the whole way through was absolute torture. So Destroy Lonely, unfortunately, it feels like it's fallen off. And the fall off has been because he's made so much money. He's now fucking loads of baddies, living his best life. But unfortunately, the music is suffering. Unfortunately, the music is suffering. Continuing on from that, and talking about the title of this particular pod, Free Pavel Durov. Free Pavel Durov. As some of you guys will know, the founder and owner and creator of Telegram was arrested in France while out there traveling with what seems like to be a CIA operative, some woman, some honeypot trap that he was, lured into, and decided to go to Paris, thought he'd be safe, got arrested because the Parisian government wanted to bring charges against Telegram for their, openness to have criminals on there and all this malarkey, and then of course slapping some pedophile allegations on his head top because they're saying there's a dissemination of information across the board that's being freely shared on Telegram, and that he's the one responsible for it because he owns the platform. It's like, come on, bro. Is the fucking creator of Bic responsible for people writing bad checks? Like, it doesn't make no sense. Is the creator of Royal Mail responsible for people sending drug packages through the mail? Of course not. It makes no sense. Either way, he's now been released from prison, I think. He can't leave Paris, so he can't leave France, basically, if I'm not mistaken, until his court case. But it's looking a little bit sussy and a little bit touchy for him. So this is an article courtesy of Financial Times. It says the Pavel Durov case is not about free speech. It says the hashtag Free Pavel Durov, launched by Elon Musk, spread quickly after Pavel Durov recent arrest in Paris. Many of who reposted it portrayed Telegram founder detention as an assault on free speech. In direct sense, it's not. Durov faces preliminary charges on French probe of Telegram's alleged failure to address criminality on its platform, including drug peddling and child abuse material. A court may ultimately have to decide whether the app broke French law and whether the Russian-born CEO can be held responsible. But it is an issue of free speech, though, because I think there was a report that came out that said initially the French government reached out to Pavel Durov and Telegram and tried to get them to limit certain things and not allow certain platform, not allow certain speech on their app or certain services, blah, 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 blah. And obviously, Telegram knew the moment they let one government a backdoor or they allow them the ability to put the reins on their service, it's going to open the floodgates to everybody else coming in and having something to say. So if you can't have free speech across the board for everybody, you're going to have to limit it, then it's not free speech, It's the same thing. But I guess the really tetchy thing for him is like the dealings that are happening on Telegram. That's probably the really sketchy thing for Pavel Durov. Because if you know, there's a bunch of people on Telegram selling multivitamins. And on Telegram, they have like shop bots. They have an inbuilt system where you can create a bot where you can kind of process orders for your multivitamins you're selling and handle it all inside the app. Obviously the payment processing is done outside of it, but you can handle the actual order processing, the order process, workflow all through the app. Basically, you can have it. It's got its own inbuilt Shopify system built into it. So if that's the case, it's gonna be difficult for him not to be able. It's gonna be difficult for him to like say he's not responsible for that because it's your fucking app. But we'll see. I'm hoping not to be the case. So free Pavel Durov. It continues. US conservatives and Silicon Valley entrepreneurs have found themselves in a strange concert with Russian bloggers in alleging that the Durov detention shows that European tech regulations, certainly more hands-on than US variety, is on the road to censorship. It's always been like that though, isn't it? Senior Russian officials among Telegram's most avid users claim that Paris is trying to force Durov to hand over the app's encryption keys. Top marks the US for goal. Durov has said that he fled Russia in 2014 and sold these Viatonic website network to Kremlin-friendly buyers after refusing to demands to share Ukrainian data. Russia tried to ban Telegram in 2018. So it seems like he's one of the type of people that he'd rather like burn. He'd rather go down himself. He'd rather sit in prison than hand over the keys to the back door of his site, hand over the admin access to governments and shit, which I kind of respect. You have to respect that kind of being that steadfast in your principles and how you view the world, that you're going to be like, you know what? No circumstances are you going to get the back doors to my app and what I'm doing here. No way. The app's distinctive ethos and structure to reflect Durov's Russian experiences and explain the scrutiny is now under. It rejects anything that it sees censorship or interference, resulting in much lighter content moderation than most counterparts and a resistance to answering regulators or legal agencies' inquiries, which forms a part of the French prosecutor's complaint. Telegram's privacy policy says that it would disclose user data if a court order confirmed that they were the terrorism suspect, but so far this has never happened. And that's the thing, is I've always wondered, like, that's the thing I've always wondered, why it's so unfair with social media and shit. Like, I understand that Elon Musk is a bit of a dick. I understand he's a bit of an arsehole. I understand he's a bit of an attention seeker. I understand he's just a bit of a weirdo. But I do also enjoy his era of Twitter ownership because it's a different experience. You go on there and see like Nazis and racists and misogyny. You see crazy shit happening on Elon's Twitter that you never saw before under Jack Dorsey's tenure. I don't mind that though. I don't mind certain people's tenure being the reason why a certain app is steering a particular way, and everyone has their turn, or a platform, you go to a certain platform for a certain type of experience. The reason that I have an issue with this sort of thing is almost like they want to nerf every social media platform, so every platform is the same experience. Sometimes if you want no holds barred, crazy wild shit, I want to be able to go on Twitter and see some of that stuff. I want to see negativity. I want to see horrible videos of people getting knocked out and run over. I want to see all that sort of stuff. But if I want to go and see some people traveling, I want to see fucking, you know, Christian girl summer content, I know where to go on IG and where to go seek that sort of content out. I don't want my kind of social media experience to be the same across the board. I want it to be varied. Like Telegram is like all over the place. It's completely like, you know, it's Mad Max over there. It's fucking all over the place. It's really fucking crazy. So I don't really mind the different experience. I just wish there was an ability for people to have that and not be forced to every platform that is super, you know, lax with them content moderation, or has completely none, is then penalized and has to then install them in order to still be about and viable. That's just not fair. Do you know what I mean? Personally, for me, these principles have made Telegram and most have an important haven for citizens beleaguered by the political opposition groups under the authoritarian regimes such as Belarus or Iran. They have also made a platform attractive to extremists and say monitoring groups, those engaged in criminal activity. By the way, I think a lot of the stuff happening in Ukraine, right? When the fucking invasion by Russian forces started, some of the initial reportage and coverage that we got from Ukraine, I swear that it came from Telegram. So a lot of the initial things that we saw came through Telegram. So if Telegram wasn't around, we wouldn't have been able to have seen firsthand what was happening in Ukraine and how people were suffering and how much of that country has been absolutely decimated by some of the Russian forces. Like, we wouldn't be able to see that. And I guess some of the thing happens even in Gaza as well. So that ability to have a platform that's, you know, without censorship and stuff allowed all that information to disseminate as freely as it did. Telegram is also called, it's absurd to claim the platform or its owner is responsible for the abuse on the platform. Exactly. I think the same thing. Yet the law and most of the society have decades expected traditional telecoms networks to allow wiretaps under court order to law enforcement bodies pursuing crimes. Online networks should be expected to do the same, including a rule for the states such as France. It is complex when data may now be held in servers across multiple jurisdictions, but the nearly 70 countries, including the US, that have ratified the Budapest Conventions on Cybercrime are already committed to harmonizing laws and facilitating cooperation against electronic offences, including the spread of child sexual abuse material, which extends allowing foreign law agencies to directly query internet service providers. China and Russia are not members. By the way, I think they just slapped this on people just to get them to comply. The moment they mention child sexual abuse stuff, everyone's obviously going to be scared and want that not to be on their platform and comply straight away. But I think some of these cases are super rare. I would just say the most reason why they're annoyed by it because it's a totally free, no holds bar platform. There's loads of dealings and stuff going on there that they're probably not getting anything out of. I'm sure a lot of the kind of OGC element as well is something that they want to keep a hold of. Drugs moving around too freely, or whatever. But it doesn't really have to do with like saving the children. They don't really care about the children. They just want to make sure that they get their fucking cut of whatever's been made and they're not getting at the moment. Given the scope of the online platforms to act as hubs for illegal activity or for content, it is fair to expect them to play their part in curbing such activities. Telegram says it observes the EU laws and its moderations, and breeding ground for the criminal and extremist groups, largely because its restrictions are less tight than US rivals. Free speech advocates argue that the acquiescing of the law enforcement request from democracies could open Telegram up to requests and threats from autocrats, which often call political opponents terrorists or criminals, but the platform would only enhance its credentials as a haven for free speech if it's purged and the content of any civilized society abhors. Even the US First Amendment, which gives broad protections for free speech, does not shield content or activities that break the law. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Big up Ocho, exactly. Ross Ulbrook, man, free him. I think I've got the book name. I think it might be King of Silk Road or something. I've actually got the book about him. You know, obviously his reasons of being locked up has got as well to do a lot with that plot to kill, I think, one of his partners or something that ended up kind of fucking him over, that he got annoyed by. But yeah, man, it's not looking good for Pavel Durov. I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good for him. The fact that he's gotten arrested is already an issue, and most likely they're gonna try and throw the book at him, especially if he doesn't comply. They're gonna probably force him to comply, or find a way to take down the site. But either way, I've really enjoyed using Telegram. Hope it does survive. I love how it is a wild west and it is completely unregulated and crazy. But I also want that to be an option. You know, I want there to be that to be an option, so I don't always have to just sit on nerfed platforms and have the same experience again and again and again, if possible. But again, what do I know? What do I know? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Continuing on, we've got a couple more to go through here before we end the show. Number one thing to talk about here that I wanted to quickly speak about was the introduction. The introduction, courtesy of Supreme, of the much fabled, much hallowed Air Force One mids. I spoke about them in a previous episode. They weren't confirmed, but now they have been confirmed. They are available now to purchase. I think they're already probably sold out by now, I'm pretty sure. I don't like that they featured jorts. Honestly, you don't understand how much I hate jorts. I despise the idea of wearing like 3/4 length shorts. If you're gonna wear shorts, especially denim shorts. I feel like denim shorts look a lot better when you just wear them above the knee or at the knee. I think wearing denim shorts where you can just see a sliver of skin and mostly socks and trainers makes no sense. But again, I stand corrected. Everyone doing things now knows what they're doing. Either way, I'm a big fan of Air Force One mids. I think I've said for the longest time, I think Air Force One mids might be the absolutely best shape out of the lows and the highs. I think the mid is a perfect shape because the mids allow you to wear them with shorts, or allow you to wear them with trousers, allow you to wear them tight trousers, baggy trousers. I think they fit all across the board. And just the overall shape and the silhouette, I think is something that a lot of brands have copied. I think the Air Force One mid is the genesis of the Rick Owens Geo basket. I think the Air Force One mid is also the genesis of there was also like a Celine shoe that I remember Phoebe Philo designed. I'm not too sure if I see it here, but I remember there used to be a Celine Air Force One shoe style that was made back in the day that also kind of took inspiration for the Air Force One. Yeah, here we go. From back in the day. So I think that shape has influenced so much of sneakers over the years. Even stuff like the Jordans have been influenced by this Air Force One shape. So I do think it's completely one of those kind of iconic shapes that's without any type of reproach. As you can see here, this is an old Air Force One inspired Celine shoe under Phoebe Philo's tenure that I always was a big fan of. It's almost this like all leather upper with no swoosh on the side, basically, and just a copy of what an Air Force One is, made in premium materials and a nice thick outer sole. So a really nice shoe. So I think Air Force Ones have kind of influenced that, and I also think Air Force One influenced the original Geo basket, right? So the original Geo basket I think was influenced by an Air Force One as well. So I think Air Force Ones have been an influence for such many great shoes like this that I can remember over the years. So I'm a big fan of them over the years. So Supreme have done their own version in all black leather and white leather. It's not like a premium leather upper. That's the only problem with it that I would say. But the another edition that's really interesting here. Look at the bio or the description. It says it's full grain leather upper with perforated leather on the toe panel, so different leather on the toe panel, and most likely, look at this, a Duro plush lining. So the lining's changed up, so it's not just a standard Air Force One stamped with the Supreme box logo on the back heel. It's actually a different lining too, which I actually like. I'm not mad at that. And also the logo has been stamped on both sides of the heel, so you get both bits of branding there. Obviously the jorts I'm not a fan of, but you know, you can't go wrong with a pair of Air Force Ones. Like, come on, look at how good they look. Look at how good those bad boys look. And I do like the little hit of the badge, because I did see a guy recently in a barbershop wear a pair of white Air Force Ones with the badge on it. And it's quite nice because when you see a pair of Air Force Ones, the first thing you think of, oh shit, are those Supreme ones? And when the person turns, you see a little box logo, you're like, oh shit, yeah, there they are. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. So I do like the extra detail, adds a little bit of anticipation and a little bit of edge to the Air Force Ones. I don't really mind them. But they look fucking cool. Again, a great staple to have in season, because I think that they're probably gonna have these all season or maybe even all year. I'm more all but certain these will probably be around next year as well. So I'm glad they're doing this, and who knows, maybe in the next few seasons, what we'll see from them is also them progressing through the sizes. Maybe they already did the Air Force One lows, now they're doing the mids. Maybe the next one they'll do will be the Air Force One high. Maybe that might be the case, which I'll be pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually would love that. But yeah, they've also got a different lining, as you can see. Allegedly, they've got a Dura Plush lining. Yeah, there you go. Because I think regular Air Force One lining is that kind of like meshy, sort of like perforated lining that is quite good for sort of that's quite good for perspiration and shit and a little airflow. But I guess this one, with it being Dura Plush, I'm assuming there's a lot of like heat benefits to it, so it keeps you warm all through the night. And of course, it's also got different laces as well with the Supreme written all over them. I would have preferred the lace jewel to also have a different lace jewel where you can maybe have the box logo there, but it's just a regular Air Force One logo. But they've also got red Supreme laces if you want to fucking spice them up. And of course, on the black pair, you got the black and white. Hopefully, they have both sets. I don't think they have both sets. I think with the all black pair, you just get the black and white laces, and with the all white, you get the red laces. But it would be nice if you got both sets of laces with both, so you could then switch the black with some reds if need be. But really nice shoes, really do like the look of them. So big up Supreme for those ones. You could definitely check them out on the website if you need be. Most likely they're already sold out, but they do look pretty sick, so check them out if need be. Then the other shoe on their list of shoes that they just announced, which I'm actually not the big fan of and I absolutely despise and hate, but again, I do admire their ability to go for, I would call Marmite shoes, right? Marmite shoes, and hard to like execute, no, hard to drip shoes, right? Really try and challenge the consumer. You have to give Supreme a lot of credit for that, because I said in the past, if they wanted to, they could just knock it out of the park and just do countless amounts of Air Max 1s, 90s, 87s, TLs, you know, Air Force Ones, and just kill it, right? That silhouette, they'll kill it, even Jordans. But the fact that they go out their way to kind of do Jordans and stuff like this and foam posits and shit and really try and push their customers is proof that they're fucking, you know, they're in it for the right reason. So this is courtesy of Supreme Nike. This quote the Supreme website, sorry, it says the Supreme Clogposite, which is obviously a foam posit clog without the laces on top and just kind of cut into a clog, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I have to be honest and say, I prefer my sneakers being sneakers, and I prefer my clogs being clogs, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like the hybrid shit. I don't like hybrid Air Force Ones. I don't like hybrid clog fucking Air Maxes. If I want to wear sandals or slides, I'm going to wear them. If I want to wear trainers, I want to wear trainers. I don't like the hybrid shit. Same reason why I hate those New Balance loafer things that they have out at the moment. They're a very kind of, you know, social media hyped shoe because it's just a penny loafer with a New Balance sole. But I think those things are hideous. If I want to wear a loafer, a penny loafer, I'm going to wear one. I'm going to bust up. I'm going to make my feet bleed. I'm going to go home walking on my heels, crying, you know, silently. But I don't want the, you know, I don't want to have that half and half. Or because my soles, my feet are going to be hurting, I need to have the New Balance. No. If you're going to wear a loafer, wear the loafer. Suffer like the rest of us. If you're going to wear a shoe, wear the shoe. Make them look ugly by wearing them in suit pants. It is what it is. But anyway, the little blurb here says, the shoe features a molded upper with a midsole and an upper outsole, neoprene tongue mesh. And it's made exclusive for Nike with a Clogposite, and Nike Cruise sock will be offered in free colorway too. So they're also selling socks as well, which is pretty cool. I don't like the fact that they do this. I think all printed socks that have colors have this tendency where if they're ribbed, they have this like weird white thing. I'm not sure if that's probably the under material or the elastic, but I've never liked that. It almost feels like a digital printed sock, which I'm also not a fan of. I don't know if there's a way to mitigate having these like white stripes, but I think it's probably the way they make up or something. But whatever, that's like a little nicky thing. But regardless, the colors are pretty decent. I don't mind the colorways. The models I don't particularly like. They come in this green colorway. Actually, this colorway here in the blue don't look too shabby. And this kid is kind of freaking them pretty well, I'm not gonna lie, with the white pants. But again, would I personally wear them myself? Obviously not. And again, I'd much rather just wear some regular fucking sandals than wear a pair of like foam posits as well, which are maybe one of the most uncomfortable shoes in the world, and then also wear them, you know, with fucking, yeah, it's just not for me. Ball isn't life for me. I'm not that on fucking basketball. Like, ball isn't life. I don't live in Bed-Stuy somewhere, so I don't need to look like this, I'm not gonna lie, because these look so fucking ugly. Like, legitimately one of the ugliest shoes I've seen in my entire life. But again, credits for Supreme for trying new things and for pushing their consumer. The colors are quite nice. If they did these colorways in regular foam posits, I'd be all over them. Like this blue and yellow colorway, this green and black colorway, they look like motorcycles. Like, they look fucking incredible. Look at it, yeah, that all black, like the colors are sick. If they did these in regular foam posits, I'd fucking wear the fuck out of them. But these clog things, yeah, it's so fucking ugly. Like, I've not seen something more ugly in my entire life. And of course, they've got matching socks. They have a 3M swoosh on there too, if you that were inspired. But yeah, I don't care. I'm not gonna buy a pair. They look fucking ugly. Maybe one of the most ugliest things I've seen in my entire freaking life. I can't believe they actually exist. I really can't. But again, credit to Supreme for challenging their consumer and pushing them. Credit for Supreme for challenging for Supreme, their customer, and pushing them. Continuing on and talking more about pushing their consumer, Noah Autumn Winter 2024 has dropped, and it's banging. This might be a return to form. I think I've said it in previous seasons on this particular pod that I haven't been that infused by some of the Noah NY offerings, which has been quite upsetting because I'm a big fan of Brendan Babsian. Obviously, he's a former designer of Supreme and has a lot of kind of credit in the bank with doing a lot of great shit. He's the one kind of responsible for some of the great stuff we're seeing from J. Crew at the moment too, and just an all-around creative when it comes to an all-around genius actually when it comes to creating like menswear / streetwear clothing. Always really kind of unconventional type of running stuff, like, you know, corduroy running shorts and different types of lining and fucking snapback hats. Just a very creative, thinking out the box type of dude. So I always kind of liked his version of menswear streetwear. I kind of felt like when he did leave Supreme, there was a market dip in the offerings in types of jackets and in terms of the nautical and kind of, you know, inspirations that kind of would seep through some of the outerwear. I think some of his tenure was one of my favorite pieces. Some of my favorite Parkers actually came from his time at Supreme, and obviously some of that stuff he's been able to kind of feed back into Noah. But I felt like over the years it's not been that great. But I feel like this particular collection might be a return to form. So this is courtesy of Noah. The blurb to begin with says, what you do is most important. What you wear less so. Let your actions define you and your clothes to be the reflection of who you are. I've heard it said that clothes make the man, but sometimes trying to sell you something probably said that. In my view, a person should never let their clothes define them. In a strange twist of fate, those who aren't ruled by fashion often end up looking the best anyway. I agree with that also. So maybe this is the reason why he's taken maybe a step back from trying to be too fashiony and sort of show off his design chops, and just went back to making like great staples. Like, look at this trench coat. Look at this look at this corduroy trench coat. Look at that. Look at that. Just look at what that looks like. Look at that. Look at the finish on that. Look at that turtleneck underneath with the pockets on the side. The shape of the trousers, the fucking shoes. Like, everything is just done so sublimely well. And again, you can tell he's been having some fun with this, and it's just come out looking great. The lookbook pictures are fucking fantastic too. I love the tone on this purple cardigan here, with the buttons all the way up. I'm not sure what that finish is actually called, but I love when the buttons go all the way up on cardigans. So usually you don't get that style. Usually they end up here on the 4 button loops here as well. Again, another pair of corduroy pants in brown. I don't really like to wear, being a black man myself, I don't really like to wear brown pants, but I don't really mind those. This particular look is one of my favorites, I'm not going to lie. Double-breasted jacket with these nice big gold buttons, tartan print on the suit, nice pop white shirt. I'm not too sure if he's got a waistcoat underneath there, but he's got some jeans on, perfect sizing. I like the styling too of this lookbook with the addition of the white socks with penny loafers. I think we've missed a lot of that, right? It reminds Michael Jackson, it reminds me of, like, you know, Take Ivy type of style, like just a nice crisp white socks. And even that particular white socks are quite hard to get, the ones where there's no bunching and they actually do hold up right up above your calf. So hopefully they're selling these as well, because they look really well done. So I like everything about that particular look. That might be one of my favorites. You got that same cardigan that I like, available in green. You've got another vest, a utility vest here, which I'm a big fan of here, in the navy. That looks fucking beautiful. Also, another good style tip, which I've always been a fan of, is letting their models wear like their own shoes and actually wear shoes that have been worn in a bit. I think that actually makes the lookbooks actually look a little bit more interesting for me. Oh, look at that belt. I love that belt. That double belt is fucking incredible. Man, just something that I would have bought in Camden Market back in the day. That's fucking banging. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. You've got this really nice green Noah hoodie available with a little Noah. Oh, look, I actually like that branding. This is like it feels like an overdyed, or I don't know how that style is called, of hoodie print or finish wash. But then on the front kangaroo pocket towards the bottom top corner, you've got the Noah emblem here, which is kind of that cross sort of design thing they've got going on their brand. So that cross there, that red cross, is available right there. Little hit there. Again, the color, the tones of colors here chosen. The particular model on the right hand side look really cool as well. You got the imagery for the lookbook is really well done. I'm not going to lie, it's really well done. nice offering with suits here available. Nice baggy, boxy cut suits. Nice tones of color of shirts, levers. The Noah hat with the N is not bad as well. I think the Noah hat with the N might be Ebbett Fields. I think so. Might be Ebbett's. But that's really well done as well. I think that's felt material. Loads of good high quality on there as well. I'm not mad at that. Again, the belt that I like. Again, the addition of the white socks with the loafers, which I'm a big fan of. Oh, I like this look here. Again, you see what I mean about the... Look how much different. Look how much better this particular look looks with normal shorts. Not jorts. Look how much better that looks. The guy's wearing shorts that end up above his knee. Nice white socks. Nice Converses, which might be a collab. I'm not sure if they are a collab, but they look really nice there. Oh, look at that jumper actually with the rose. I'm not mad at that at all. The cardigan with the rose. There's a Noah. Oh, there's a hooded Noah coach jacket. Is that what I'm seeing here? Oh yeah, this is like a coach jacket, but hooded. But it's got buttons on the collar. So maybe there's a hood you can attach to it. But I like that. The sweatshirt I also like the look of. Yeah, loads of browns. Those are nice earthy tones. Those particular loafers look fucking amazing. There's a really nice, I think they're called Alice. I forgot what they call it. Is it Alice? Or Mary Jane sandals. Those are really nice too in the soft brown. Wow, man. This is so good. This is definitely one of their best collections in recent years. Oh, that multi-stripe sweatshirt is going to be a fucking hit this season. For sure. This is definitely going to be one of their sold out pieces. This multi-stripe sweatshirt with the different stripes and different colors and shit. Oof. And for sure, a lot of girls, a lot of our more chunkier style girls that like to wear cargo skirts with like foam posits and Jordans, they're gonna go all over for these like pleated skirts as well. You know, it's a bit Amish, you know, but I do like the look of it. I'm not gonna lie. Again, oh, look at the color of this particular. Is that a? Wow, is that like a? That's like like the same shape as a barber. I don't know what that particular shape jacket is called, a barber jacket, but they've replaced the material. Instead of having it waxed, this almost feels like it's like, is that wax or is that suede? That might be actually a wax material, but it's actually got raglan sleeves. That's so cleverly done. So you got the same shape as a barber, but it's got raglan sleeves, but then it kind of looks like suede, but it actually might be a wax material. But that green is beautiful. Oh, look at that purple vest. That purple, but oh, there's so much stuff here that I would absolutely buy in a heartbeat. On God and heaven. On God and absolute heaven. Let me actually get this looking down. Where are you? Wow. So much good shit here. So much good shit. Again, multi-stripe beanie. That's going to sell out for sure. I know. I see the stuff that everyone's going to buy and absolutely want a piece of. That plaid shirt here is fucking beautiful. Yeah, there's so much good shit here. So much. Let me actually see what's available. I actually would love to see what's actually available at the moment. Let's see if we can see any of that available now on the shop. Let's actually click there. Let's actually click this shop. Let's see autumn winter 2024. Let's see if any of it comes up for us, because I'm curious to see what is sold out, what hasn't sold out, and what is actually available, what isn't available. Let's see what I want. So some of the jeans are still available, $235. Has the pricing increased, or is it still the same? It's still the same, isn't it? It's still the same. You got the double breasted jacket. It's called a Blackwater Blazer, $1,225. God damn it. You've also got the loafers. You got the cardigan that I like the look of. It's called a Shetland cardigan, which is £305. The belt that I like, eyelet belt, $186. I'm sure I could find the same belt in Camden for like 30 quid. That's the only problem. Obviously, their one's going to be way better material. You can actually tell from the picture here. Probably a high quality leather. Let's check the product description actually, see what they're saying. But the pricing of Noah is a bit exuberant, isn't it? It's kind of they kind of remind me of like Visvim with their pricing. Honestly, they kind of remind me of Visvim with their pricing. Like crazy. So the brown belt is sold out in more colorways than the black. Interesting. I thought the black is better. So it's made in Italy and it's 100% leather. Eyelets and metal buckle. Metal eyelets and metal buckle. Yeah, it would be obviously far better quality than the one I would probably get if I went to fucking Camden. But I'm not sure you can justify paying $185 for a belt like this, to be honest. You know? At least give me a little bit of branding. At least give me like a red embroidered cross symbol somewhere, you know? So when I fucking pull up my trousers, people can see, oh shit, he's wearing a Noah belt, you know? At least give me a little hit, a little like red embroidered thing here. Maybe a little embroidered N or something. N for nigger, N for Noah, whatever. Give me something. Just give me a double, a double eyelet belt, and then just say, yeah, there you go. You know it's Noah. You know it's Noah. You know it's not from Camden. I'm like, bro, but no one else will know. No one else will know if it doesn't have a little bit of branding on it. Like, give me something, bro. God damn. They don't give you fucking anything. They don't give you nothing, these people. We continue on. Oh, this is the sweatshirt I was talking about. This striped, what's it called? Striped Dongao sweater. It's £265. Let's see if I'm right about it selling out in most sizes. It sold out in most sizes, or was I wrong? Let's see what it says here, courtesy of the site. Oh, it's actually available in all sizes. Wow, okay, I was wrong then. Oh no, actually it is sold out. See, I knew it. Agostino's buying expertise strikes again. Striped Dongao shaker sweater, all sold out in all sizes. Not surprised. This is definitely the standout piece of the season. This is fucking gorgeous. Like, so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Look how well it's styled with that yellow hat, with the fucking olive pants, with the like the pants are probably sweat out because I don't like the pockets. I think they make everything look a bit too frumpy. Probably want to think a little bit too flat, but look how well this looks. Imagine wearing these with a pair of shorts and some nice Vans or Converses or even some Birkenstocks. This will look so good. Yeah, I'm not surprised this is sold out actually in the slightest. And then last thing I want to check out is the hat and maybe the socks as well. I think the socks are still available. I think they were like £25 for a pair of socks, which is kind of nuts if you think about it, right? £25 for a pair of white socks is kind of insane. Yo, Noah is like the American Visvim. I swear to God, 25 quid for white socks is wild. But again, it's made with love. What we got here? Let me see. Have they got that hat with the N? Where's that hat with the N on it? I want to see how much that shit is. Do we have that hat with the N? Or is that not available just yet? We got some more stuff here. Socks, sandals, this, that, and the other. Do we have the hat with the N? We got balaclava. We got pop socks, which are 25. We've got a Mizu water bottle, 49. The tote bags are beautiful, by the way. The classic tote bags are really beautiful. I'd much prefer to get one of these than buy, cringy Erwan one. The classic tote bags are really nice. Just wish they would have another strap so you could kind of carry it crossbody. I hate how they always have it on the shoulder, so you have to carry it like a bunch of sticks. I'd want a crossbody type of thing if possible, but I guess you could just easily install that yourself if you wanted it. But yeah, the N hat isn't available just yet. No N hat just yet. But that N hat is probably one of my favorite pieces, but it's not available to purchase just yet. But regardless, that is Noah Autumn Winter 2024. I'm sure most of it is going to probably come out later down the line. But so far, all the pieces I said will be popular have sold out. So I recommend you check it out. If you're that way inclined, you should maybe try and check it out if you're that way inclined. If you don't want to check it out, I also understand. Moving on from that one, we also want to quickly check over the absolutely stupendous collection. Stupendous collection. Courtesy of Uniqlo, courtesy of Blard Clark Uniqlo. And this might be one of my favorite collaborations they've done in recent years, courtesy of Clare Waight Keller. This is definitely one of their stronger design collaborations. This is really fucking good. I'm not going to lie. So as you can see here, courtesy of the Uniqlo site, this is the collaboration pieces. I'm not too sure if they've got a release date for these yet at the moment, so don't ask me about a release date. But when it comes to the pieces available, let's quickly go to the men's tab. Some of the stuff available is so fucking good. You got great sweatshirts and pants. I think this is actually a really good sweatsuit, look in general. This look here. So you got a great hoodie and a great sweatpant. And to be honest, I've always wanted a piece. I'm more on the side of like having sweatpants and sweatshirts that look like this, especially without the elasticated hem at the bottom here. Kind of remind me of like, Rick Owens Berlin pants and shit. So it's going to arrive in September. I don't know what actual date. So early September, you've got an oversized pullover hoodies here. You've got the wide sweatpants, and they've also got shoes. So I don't think this might be the first time I've seen a Uniqlo designer collaboration that has this amount of shoes. There's loads of shoes including this. It's really fucking cool. So the shoes look pretty cool. Again, you can get a whole sweatsuit to yourself, which kind of if you were into essentials, instead of buying fake essentials, you probably purchase this. This is quite cool. If you're into like that essentials fear of God look, you can get a whole suit with the hoodie and the pants for under $100. The pants are $40 and the sweatshirt is $50. Not too bad, to be completely honest. And then you've also got this really nice double face wrap coat, which I'm a big fan of, oversized. They can obviously layer with a bunch of things. That looks fucking beautiful. This hooded coat here is fantastic because I'm pretty sure this hood comes off. So, and I think it pretty much comes in an olive green too. I really fucking love the olive green color as well. And the olive green color is not available here, but they've also got this available too. These suede combination sneakers, which kind of remind me a little bit of like Margiela Army sneakers, available for $60 too. So pretty nice shoes available as well in this designer collaboration, which I would probably like. The scarf I'm a big fan of. The wide pants I love as well. The wide parachute pants. Again, the shoes come with a black and a gum sole. There's pleated looking skirts here. Little kind of, you know, fake fucking Issey Miyake look going on there. What else do we have here? That tweed coat is actually quite nice. I think it's kind of like a tweed material, not too sure if it is. Wide parachute pants. The sneakers look freaking good. That broadcloth overshirt. Look at that shirt. The overshirt and the wide denim pants. That's a fucking fantastic look. Freeway oversized half coat for the women's is really nice. That belted flare skirt is fucking fantastic. And it also comes with boots for that same look. So many good things. That puff tech quilted oversized coat. Pretty hard. I'm not going to lie. Especially a lot of people love these kind of like... A lot of people love wearing these quilted, what you'd maybe call underlayers as an overlayer. And this is kind of oversized as well, so you can easily wear it as an overlayer as well. That belted shirt dress is very beautiful as well, as are the clogs, which again, I'm not a fan of wearing clogs, but I don't really mind it. They look there. Nice scarf. That smooth, solid. Oof, that dress is absolutely beautiful as well. There's also a mini shoulder bag. There's a hooded coat here again. That's one I mentioned earlier that comes in olive. So many good things here, man. Really great essentials, really great basics. That's probably one of my favorite colors of that coat that comes in olive as well, with the shoes included too. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. I love everything about it. Looks absolutely beautiful. Really, I think these pictures were taken near the Tate Modern. Look like they're taken near the Tate Modern. These pictures for his Uniqlo, I think they were taken near the Tate Modern, where all those buildings and apartments are. So looks pretty cool. Not mad at that in the slightest. So due to come out really soon, earlier September, Clare Waight Keller, a collaboration with Uniqlo. Really recommend you check it out. Loads of great pieces here. Again, much of it has been sold by the lookbook and the pictures. I know there's a lot of, like, you know, talented stylists and photographers out there that can make anything look amazing, but I think you just strip them to their bare essentials. A lot of this stuff was going to would look good on a lot of us, to be completely honest. Like some of this quilted oversized jacket and shit, it's impossible for this stuff to look bad on you. This all looks really good, really nice. Basically, you can obviously wear with your current wardrobe, and it's all very well priced as well. And most likely with all collaborations anyway, most of the stuff will probably end up on sale anyway. So if you don't want to buy it straight away, you'll probably be able to buy a lot of this in sale as well. I love that bag. Oh, that bag's actually a really good size for like a DJ shit. I'm not gonna lie, that mini shoulder bag might be a look for like a DJ bag. That's actually really a good size. I like how it fastens as well. It's got a strap on the, it's got a strapped crossbody strap, and it has these pull strings that you can kind of tie it. You can zip it. So instead of having to zip it open all the time, you can just like pull tab it like that, which is quite cool. I don't mind that. And it's also got some extra pockets on the outside. Maybe you can stick like USBs and shit and headphone adapters on the outside there with a closed compartment. So I'm not really mad at that in the slightest. And the boots and the shoes, you know, from what I know about Uniqlo's footwear, it's not the greatest, but again, if you want to buy your whole look in one store, some of these shoes don't look that bad, and they're pretty well priced. All around $50 basically for boots. Probably these sneakers are probably the best option available. $60. The suede combination sneakers, definitely the best things available here. But a lot of cool stuff you can check out if you're that way inclined. A big up Uniqlo, big up blood clot Uniqlo. And last of the collections to look at here before we head out is going to be JJJound, courtesy of Levi's. JJJound and Levi's have collaborated. JJJound and Levi's have collaborated for a capsule collection that's going to be dropping sometime in September. And I'm a big fan of what I see so far. You've got a 10-piece, was it 10-piece? 10-piece capsule collection representing reinterpreting timeless silhouettes through JJJound's minimalistic lens. You've got some shirts, you've got some button-ups, some jeans, some overshirts, caps, and a belt. But just very exquisitely done. I'm not really mad at that in the slightest. I wonder why they decided to do this capsule collections with Levi's like this. Because this is all stuff they could have done easily themselves in-house. You know, there's not many things here that JJJJound don't already do on their own. So I wonder why they decided to do this with Levi's. That's something I'm curious about. But either way, the offerings available are really cool still. Personally, for me, if I was gonna pick what the standout pieces would be, I would definitely say it's the JJJJound shirt with the horses. It's this plaid shirt. It's these jeans here, this particular, the light grey and the kind of charcoal color jeans, and of course the overshirt, and of course the belt. Those would definitely be my favorites to go for. But I think they could have done this in house if they wanted to. But I guess, you know, doing a collaboration with Levi's, who would turn that down? You've got Levi's and JJJJound 93 jean, grey stonewashed, grey, dark grey. So the colors are grey stonewashed, dark grey, and black over dye. To be fair, this particular size of, or this particular shape of Levi's, knowing Justin Saunders and his style and having kind of been a fan of his from afar, he's definitely a bit of a geek when it comes to the jeans, and he's definitely a lover of Levi's. So most likely this particular shape, he's probably poured over all the archives and decided on the best shape for him, and for the brand that kind of fits his style and fits the stuff he's into. So most likely this particular shape of jeans, you're probably not going to be able to purchase easily via Levi's anyway. So this collaboration makes sense in that regard. You're probably going to be able to, you know, this is definitely one of those one-off occasions. So this is definitely one for the Levi's heads as well. You got the big Levi's pull tab here on the back as well. They look pretty cool. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. But okay, they all come as one inseam. Interesting. They all come as one inseam. So you can't get them longer or shorter. They all come as a 32 inseam. I've not really seen that available in a long time. So I guess you can get different size waist, but no one inseam. Mid-rise straight leg, polished nickel hardware, JJJJound stamp print on a wearer's, was it on a wearer's inside leg? JJJJound print stem, where is that? On the inside leg. Oh, sick. Look at that. There's a bit of print. There's a bit. Let's see. That's what I want for my Noah belt. At least give me a stamp. If I'm gonna pay 185 for like double hold fucking belt that I can buy in Camden, at least give me a stamp on the outside that shows people what I'm wearing. So I don't mind that in the slightest. I really don't mind that in the slightest. But I guess it depends on the stuff that you like and don't like. So it continues on from there. What else have we got here? So you got the jeans. This is probably one of my favorite pieces in the collection. This plaid shirt here, 100% cotton flannel, brushed exterior, unbrushed interior, relaxed fit, JJJJound stamp above the left hem. And again, that stamp kind of reminds me a little bit of the stuff that Benjamin Edgar does as well with his stuff. So big up him. So I wonder if that's a little nod to him or whatever, or just general what he went to do. Single button barrel cuff and double needed stitch buttons as well. Maybe I would have preferred a bit more of a substantial button, maybe a little bit more thicker, maybe to kind of hold it a little bit more. But I still like the finish on this shirt. This shirt is fucking gorgeous, very well done. The back, what's the back hit there? Oh, look at that. You got a nice, see, JJJJound know what they're doing. It's all very simply done. The stitching isn't the greatest quality, but still, that little hit on the back, the little JJJJound branding here on the back, that's going to get my dick hard. I'm not going to lie. I know I'm a little bit excessive with this, but that's going to get my dick hard. Then you got Levi's t-shirt in black, cotton washed, 90s grunge inspired screen print graphic on the front, J90 fit, co-branded neck label. I really like this as well. This is a really cool shirt. It reminds me of something that you would find in like a, you know, in like a charity shop somewhere. You got these two big black horses careering in the front of this graphic with red eyes and JJJJound written in this like almost like metal western type of font. And at the bottom here you got N2F4 zeros as well. Levi structure and quality clothing. The graphic is really cool. I wonder who designed the graphic actually. And then on the neck label, you've got the co-branded label here as well. You got the JJJJound Levi Strauss made in Turkey special issue. Not mad at that in the slightest. Look at the quality of that neck hole. Look at the quality of that neck hole. That is a nice, man. I'm so used to buying fucking £10 t-shirts. Look at the quality of that neck hole. That's nice and fucking tight. I love the look of that as well. And you got a nice little label on the side there as well. It says Levi's. I wonder if you could flip it. It says JJJJound on the other side. I doubt it, but still very, very nicely done. Not mad at that in the slightest. Available in white. And then there's this other jacket. Oh, it's a suede coach jacket. Is that what it is? A suede coach jacket. That is fire, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Just a suede coach jacket. Wow. That's going to be bucks, though. With silk lining on the inside and metal snap buttons. Oh, this might be the standout piece. This suede coach jacket might be the standout piece. This is fucking gorgeous. God damn it. JJJJound went crazy. Look at that. and it's also got the stamp as well. This is like is that tonal black? Yeah, of course it is. Nice and tasteful. You got the JJJJound here on the back as well, tonal black, lovely, nice and tasteful. And then of course you got the metal snap buttons as well. Like, yeah, they did a really good job with these. And has that got JJJJound written on the side of it? Of course it has. Levi, look at the little details, man. This is well worth the money when this eventually does end up dropping. This is probably one of the strongest collaborations I've seen actually this season. I'm not going to lie, especially capsule collections. They went fucking crazy. And there's also a Levi's suede cap I'm not really interested in, and of course the belt, which I also love as well. So loads of great stuff there from JJJJound and Levi's capsule collection. Really fucking impressive, really strong. When is it due to come out? This is due to come out in stores on the 6th of September, so this week. So check that out if you're that way inclined. It's available to launch the 6th of September and be available to purchase on Levi's.com, also the Levi's app, and also Levi's stores and JJJJound.com, all on the 6th. So dropping all on the same day. All on the 6th across all sites, JJJJound and Levi's. Check it out if you're that way inclined. All stuff is going to sell out, I'd assume. Most likely, I guess the standout piece is probably everyone's going to be going crazy for is definitely the shirts, because they're going to be the cheapest. This horse shirt and maybe the hat. Does the hat actually have any branding on it at the front? Does the hat have any branding on the front, or is it just like a plain hat? What's it got? Anything? Yeah, nothing on the front, just on the side. Okay, cool. If I had maybe the JJJJound on the front, people would probably be going crazy for it. But if I had to guess the standout pieces that I'll probably sell out, the shirt because it's cheap, the jeans again because people are addicted to denim nowadays and want a particular cut, and you can't probably get this cut or this particular shape or this particular color from Levi's directly, so you get it through this collaboration. And then I'd assume they probably didn't make many of this suede coach's jacket. That probably cost a lot to make, so I doubt they made a lot of these. So most likely this will also sell out. So be prepared if you want to get the plaid or the t-shirt or the jeans or the suede jacket. They're going to be going for bucks, and they're going to be going quickly. So make sure you get your hands on them. Make sure you get your hands on them. Anyways, my friends, that has been me. It's now 2 hours or so in. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company. I'm going to head off to the gym now to have a quick workout. And then after the fact, actually, if you're still around in a few hours, there'll be a random show happening probably in about 4 hours or so, maybe 11 o'clock my time. So check back. I'll put the link up available on the random show channel. That should be available actually in the link description probably. The random show channel. I'll obviously put an update on my channel as well, but everything concerning the random show will be happening at about 11 o'clock my time. Most of it will be taken up by the DSP thing because there's a DSP June the King documentary dropping, so I'm going to be watching that. So don't be annoyed if I cover a lot of June, and then obviously we'll do a lot of Brendan and Sharp stuff also during that particular stream, so definitely make sure you check that out. That's going to be happening if you're that way inclined to see all that sort of stuff. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, never ever a chore. For those of you listening live, my tune of the day today will be a tune by Miraa May, and it's called No Bad Energy. Miraa May, and it's called No Bad Energy. That I'll be playing now as my tune of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Free Pavel Durov. We need more free, non-censorship platforms out there. And if they take down Telegram, they're going to take down all of us. And I still want my drugs. So free Pavel Durov. Thank you for tuning into the Agostino Zinga Show. See you guys soon. Take care. Peace.